welcome to the Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast, episode 219. 219, yeah? See?
You got it. 219.
All right. Yeah, see? I'm D and he's C. How's that? No more real names on the show. See? every time I come on, I give a different thing. You know?
It was Dario. It was Dave. It's Dario. It's D. Who cares? They know us by now.
They know us by now. And if you are new to the show, please, I beg of you, stop right now. Do not listen to this episode. Go back. I don't care how far you go back. Go back, preferably to show one, but whatever. If you want to start at
yeah,
a different
binge.
show. Yeah, binge. But if not, it's okay. But this is BSing. This is us kicking it, doing our things. The listeners like it, the ones that have been with us since day one and whatnot, and that we love them and that support us. So this may or may not be your cup of tea. I should say this more on the show because we do have more people joining to the Patreon and everything, so that when they hear it fresh, they're like, okay, I'm going to check out the show or what happened.
What happened?
Right. What's going on? What are they talking about? What do I care about this and that? And, where's the horror? So, I mean, if that's what you're thinking, because we're going to BS and it's not always about horror, then go back to a titled show, a themed show, if you will, and check it out. And then come back and get to know our personalities and then decide if we're worthy of listening to them BS.
Wait, don't do that. Just blanketly listen.
Well, this is what it is. If you like the host, you like to listen. And this is what I've realized all these years with the few podcasts I can still tolerate, is that I'm listening because I like the host. It isn't always what they're talking about. Although I will tell you that I do get bummed out about, movie reviews when I've heard them a bunch of times. Unless it's Friday the 13th or Halloween or something that I'm really passionate about, I'll listen to anybody's take. But if I see a random review on a random podcast, okay, we're going to talk about Pumpkinhead or something. I just won't listen if it's my first show. Unless I know the host already, and then I don't care what they talk about. I like the host, and I know I'm going to enjoy what they do bring to the table. That's what it is about these podcasts, and that's what separates some from others, I think. But and by the way,
you're jumping right. But by the way, what?
We got a few new whatchamacallits, reviews. Well, that too. I may as well do that too.
We got more Apple reviews.
Yeah, we got more Apple reviews. So check it.
You know what I mean?
Whatever. Reviews. Apple reviews. The Macintosh, right? The Granny Smith. Okay, let's see here. So on the iTunes, we're now at 223. So we're getting there, but we're still at a 4.6. So people, please, if you have not done it, please go in there. Hopefully give us a 5-star. Say something nice. But
what are these negative?
Oh, it's a new one that wasn't there a couple days ago. Okay, so check it. It was pretty quiet for a while, but on August 3rd,
give me the good, bad, and ugly. Good.
Okay, August 3rd, 5 stars, 5 out of 5 from Bob Noxious. Boy, it's a lot to read, but what the hell? Okay, we'll read it. I've been watching horror movies since I was little. I grew up in the Chicago suburb, and the television stations played horror movies Fridays, Saturdays, and occasionally Sundays in the late 70s and 80s. I've always loved horror movies, especially 80s slashers and vampires, and reviews of them. I used to buy Leonard Maltin's annual review books every year.
Yeah.
It was a 70-inch, proto slasher. Oh, a 70. Well, I think that was supposed to be a year. Okay. Called Blood and Lace. Oh, what happened? Oh, called Blood and Lace that I saw in those days that stuck with me. I did a YouTube search of that title with podcast and discovered this wonderful horror movie podcast. See, that's the advantage of doing obscure things.
Something happened there. I don't know. You broke up on me. It's really weird. We hadn't had any issues with internet for all ages. And all of a sudden, the last few shows here and there, sporadic, but here and there. So that's the first physical time you broke up on me. We've frozen. I've frozen on you. or whatever
Ooh,
once very
yeah.
quickly. So that broke up the review a bit. But I think, isn't that Bob that's on our Patreon page and just been speaking out recently? I wonder if that's the same, speaking out in a nice way. He
Oh,
seems to be leaving like quick little Bob Jordan.
maybe it's Bob Jordan. Okay,
Yeah.
that's great if it is. That's awesome.
So,
And he has a lot to say. He has a lot to say. And he gave us 5 stars. And then here's another one that just came in Tuesday, but it was a 3-star. And I'll tell you why it's a 3-star.
all right.
Because it says, "Where is Brandon?" at the top. And then it says, "We need a Brandon update." So
Well, if you
that's
got you would have got, you're going to get the Brandon update. I mean, I don't even remember. I actually forgot to release the regular show the last time when I released the Patreon only one last week. I was traveling, I was away, so I had that scheduled to come out, but I hadn't
happens.
scheduled the regular episode. So,
Oh,
again, yeah, I guess that's the thing because they're only in the 180 range, 182, 183 in that. So they're not
right.
going to get the official. I don't know when we make the official announcement. I think it was 189, I think, or something
Mm,
like that. It's coming
well,
up. It may have already
yeah.
happened. I really can't remember. It all gets blurred, but then he comes back for one
But
episode. And he was
I'm
supposed to
pretty,
come back a couple of times too, and he just hasn't.
yeah. And well, he's got a lot of issues going on at the household. You know what I mean? He's got some things happening. And the thing is, uh, I think that we probably even leading up to like the official announcement of him, you know, taking a break, it was, what do you call it? I think we would still address it on the show, but I don't know for sure. So I think we
Oh, we
kind of gave
did.
updates when we could. Right. So it's coming up. It's coming up. But yeah, he's not here. Um
That
so
makes
that's
sense.
that.
We only get 3 out of the 5. Some have adjusted and are fine with the new format, and some
Right.
might not be able to.
And I get
So
it.
it's like
What are you
another
gonna do?
phase. We used to
Yes.
change up the what we were doing. The original concept was an old and a new. That's the
Mm-hmm.
gimmick. And then we went into year of the slasher. Then we went into year of the franchise. And then
Yeah.
we kind of been bringing up a year of the
Then we went
patron,
old
year of the
school.
year.
You're the patron. The year of the old format, or we used to call it. I
Yeah.
forgot. I can't even remember everything we've done at this point.
And
Year of
now,
the year, of course.
and then now this is year of, yeah. What was this again? Year. We just came up with subjects, and then we,
Oh,
uh,
year of the spin.
yeah,
Yeah.
the year of the
I could have come
spin.
up with a good freaking title. Spin the wheel, make a deal. Year of the, I don't know,
Yeah,
the gamble, the roulette, the freaking year of the, man, I don't know. I'm usually decent at coming up with titles for things. For some reason, I can year of the surprise. I don't know. Who
uh,
knows?
and then next year,
Um,
what we know is going to be year of the slasher, part 2.
which we're already on. So, one more. So that was a three
One more
star that I
review.
just saw
Okay.
it because it came Tuesday. Okay, Nitwit who bought a Fitbit who did that one, and and now Joey Cage, who we have seen around, who is a homie. He's cool, and check it. He says, "F that 1-star guy." Dave and the
uh,
guys are funny dudes. I hear you and how easily people are offended now on Facebook. Keep doing what you are all doing, which that's it's simple, right?
mhm.
There you go. So there you go.
Yeah,
So that's great. But we
that is
want
cool.
more. Please give us some more.
we we
You know?
need it. We need, well,
Yeah.
it does help because it just helps whatever algorithms they use and however they do
Yeah.
it, just to see consistency. I mean, most of them are from the States. I've told you that if I look up from Canada, I think we've got 3 reviews from the Canadian side of things. So I'm
Right.
not, my people are not representing at all. We've got some ratings and then like a handful of reviews. That's it.
Come
The
on,
majority
Canada.
of them, are coming from. Woo! Look at that! Right out of the gate. Right
There
out
he
of the
goes.
fucking gate. The
Yep. Up
majority
in
of
the
them are coming out of the
Blairstown.
States.
He's
There
in
it
the
is.
Blairstown Diner today. I noticed right away. It's freaking
Yeah.
great, man. You know what's for
That is-
sale, I think. I think
Yeah,
it's for sale.
I remember that. But hey, did you
Man.
check out? I'm sure you must have because like it was on the crew page. But did you check out that really cool like fan film, the Camp Out Nightmare 6, The Resurrection? What?
Yeah.
No, I saw it was on there that they mentioned it or whatever like that. So I checked it out. I couldn't believe it. I like that's Michael J did that.
Yes. That's Michael J. that did that years ago. He's been making them freaking all his life since he was a kid, like me, like making movies, and you for that
Yeah.
matter, you know?
No, I dug it.
So
I thought it was really good. But why did that?
that's
What was it?
great.
Why? What was the? Why is there like a new cut? What was Alex wasn't part of this 25 years ago, was he? Because I saw that he edited it or something like that, or did the music, or did he just come out to revamp it for the 25th anniversary cut?
I don't know if he did that cut, but he did one cut, the one that we talked about on the Skeleton Crew, that Michael J gave it to him and he edited it from 2.5 hours to like an hour and a half or whatever the hell it was. So Alex did at one point edit it. He didn't make it. Michael J made it long before he knew Alex. So then
Yeah.
he came out and he made it. And then Alex edited for it and did some other stuff and whatnot. I guess the music too. But yeah,
Right.
see, Skeleton Crew. Well,
Have you?
and there's been another one. They wanted to just kind of like have fun with it and just like kind of you know let's watch this movie because it's kind of so bad it's good and it's a home movie and
Oh, your
blah blah
favorites.
blah. Michael G's ridiculous and everything else. So let's watch it and then talk about it. And I watched it and I liked it. Not liked it. It was what I expected it to be. It
Yeah.
like to me, there were some ridiculous things going on, sure, which I expected. Like I made home movies back then. If I could put my home movies out, people would laugh at some of the stuff we did there too, intentional and unintentional. So I get it. So they did the review, and Jamie and Alex were really happy to. I at first I was kind of reluctant to do it
Yeah.
because I didn't want it
I
to
know. I
come
know why.
come off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not saying it was this, but and check it out. So we talked about that with the show, and
I'm
then
also I can't I can let you go, and Alex is gonna kill me for not letting you go. He told me about it. He goes, "Hey, bring this up on the show today."
oh
As a joke.
really?
So I try to binge watch it. I
Oh,
literally woke up late this morning. I wake up to this text from him. So
awesome.
I'm trying to watch the thing, and I only got halfway through. But
Uh,
it's exactly what you described. No, I'm not going to say I'm a fan, but I will say it's so bad it's good. There's some fucking choice dialogue there that if it was in any
yeah,
movie, like he's like, "Oh, thanks for interrupting." It's like I was just fucking your sister, or I was just trying to fuck your sister, or there's like things like that
right,
that were just like there. They're filming. There's like a kid crying in the background, calling him Michael
right.
in the scene and whatever. It's like it's exact. It brought back the memory of when I did the movies. The one thing I'll say is he made it feature length. I never had the balls or
Right.
really, I guess, the patience because I thought I'd bored the shit out of people, so I couldn't make anything. Even my 5 minute ones I thought were too long at the time. Like,
Oh, mine were long, but
but
it's
yeah,
the well. Check it though. You have to be able to get people to go in it. You have to be able to convince. I could have made a feature length at the time if I could have found adults willing to take part and other
oh, he
people.
had a
He had a
whole
bunch of
cast.
people.
Oh,
That's the
I know.
difference.
It was a whole cast, and some of it I'm assuming it's flashbacks because I didn't watch part 1 through 5. I jumped right into this because Alex bringing it up. But
Right.
I'm more like you. You're being very kind. I can't say anything really that bad about it because it reminds me of what I did when I was like 50. Well, I'd say 13 to 15 in that range. Then I felt like I got a little better. I mean, not better than that, but I think there's more editing instead of because that's how I used to do it. The camera would always
Oh,
it was like
we
in
never
camera
edited.
editing, and it would just
Uh,
pan from one person to the other. Like that's how you get started, and you're like, okay, and then you try to find like some sort of pace or something, and everything the scenes go on like 3 times longer than they need to, and then
yeah.
you kind of figure, okay, well, how can I edit? And that's really you either teach yourself or you don't, or
Well,
you get better or you don't. But it definitely brought me back to that time. But I couldn't believe, like, I really didn't get a cast like that until much later. Like, and what I mean by that is like that many people. We usually had like
right.
four or five people that we like that I would just
Yeah.
reuse. and that we would just do a new movie every time. Uh,
Hmm.
and there's a ton, but like it's funny because there's one guy that looks. I don't know where the accent's from, so please don't be offended. But I'll just say Alabama because it's fitting for the show. And his everything he says is so badly delivered that you can't help but like think like this is fantastic. Because I had a friend of mine that we put him in the movie. I never really want him in my good movies. But we'd always
Right.
do these other movies, and every line he delivered, because he couldn't act, he couldn't deliver a line to save his life, it became the running gag. It was just so funny. Like we said, okay, like just say, hey man, I'm gonna go get another beer. And he'd be like, okay, I'm empty. Would you like another beer? That
Ah,
would be how he delivered
that's
the
funny.
line. It's just beautiful. And he knew it. Like we would be like, we're doing it again. We just like it was, but again and again and again, delivering the same line. It was fantastic. But yeah, it for nostalgia factor it brought back. I never saw the end. I didn't get to the end, of course. Like I said, I'm about let's say 45 minutes in, but an hour and a half film. I never did that ever.
It's too hard. It's too long. There's boring moments in it. That's the thing. It's hard to do at
Yeah,
that age.
for sure.
You're just doing. You're thinking film everything, and if you don't edit it or do reshoots, which I was always big on reshoots. See, I always.
You did a test screening, and then they told you
Well,
what
no, no,
they.
no. I would let's say we're making a movie now, and I put the camera up and it's say, okay, you do this and you do this and you do this. And if they didn't do it right, I'm like, no, we got to do it over. You need to say this. You got to do it this way. This has to be. Make sure you pick this thing up, and when you say the line, say it like this as opposed to that. So I was, you know what I'm saying. So that's what made the final cut. So with videotape, you just tape over what you just taped. Now it's
Yeah,
always not the wisest decision because of over time, but whatever. So I was always filming movies and just I would brainstorm what we were gonna do. I would write the script in my head. I would write the whole thing in my head and say, okay, this is the story about this. We're gonna do this, and this, and it's gonna end like this. Go talk about this, talk about this. And it was very off the cuff. So there's no script or anything. It was just like just kind of say this. But I always felt I could pull it off from both sides of the camera and I could act and it was just easy to me. It always felt that way. So now, and I'll show you some of my movies. I'll put up some more besides the snake thing that I showed you. The snake was just me kind of like filming them and being behind the camera. But everything else I was doing, I was the newscaster and I was coming on and I was breaking the news and I'd be in my room and okay, you know, welcome to today's news, etc. And we're going to take you to the story and then we go
yeah.
out to the street and this is the story. But we did all the stuff. Then we did another one about a killer alligator called Chomp. And you know, it wasn't see this. I'm saying I could put some of my stuff out there, but the thing is, it's like I an hour and a half or whatever. It's too long. It's not worth it to me. It's not. How can I say it? For me, it's not bad enough to warrant an hour and a half. It's too, or the opposite.
Yeah.
It's too bad for me to want to spend an hour and a half with it. And there isn't
I
enough
hear
so
you.
bad it's good in there for me. But that's okay. So now after we
You're
did the
very good. Did you do the commentary? I'm sorry for interrupting, but when you do the
well, I was
commentary
about
of
to
it?
get to that.
Oh, okay.
So
Cool.
what happened was we filmed it. We did the not the commentary, just the review. So I got off after and it was my idea. I texted them. I said, I go, because I didn't think anyone's going to listen to this podcast. Why would you listen to a podcast about some freaking
Well,
fan movie
movies.
that
Yeah.
if you, it's because then you're asking the viewer to watch the movie, which is some freaking fan made movie,
Oh,
and then listen to the review. Okay, hold on, let me finish. So you're
no, it's
asking
fine.
them to do
Yeah.
that. So I'm like, this is not going to get a lot of attention. So I said, I thought the whole time that this was going to be a watch along, a commentary episode. So they're like, oh, that's what we should do. And they go, do you want to do a commentary? And I didn't want to do it, but because Jamie and Alex had so much fun doing it, and I was happy for them. I couldn't get a word in. But I've been on the other side where someone's more excited about something, or I've been more excited about something, and then I don't give someone else a chance. So I'm not mad at them; they're having a blast. But it was hard for me to try to get a word in, and it was cool because they enjoyed it much more. I got bored with it after a bit, so now
I
and
get it.
frustrated because it wasn't good. So now, and that's no offense. Well, I
Yeah,
mean, I'm not going to say what I was
hey.
making was good at that
Oh,
time either.
exactly.
So
I
I'm
mean,
not
I get
knocking
it.
Michael J.
Yeah.
This is all I'm saying. So
Fox.
when it came time to do that, they decided to do a commentary. And I thought for me, if I was going to do it, I would have felt for me I was being mean spirited, and I didn't want to do that. So I'm not saying what they did was mean spirited because I didn't watch it. I don't know, but I just didn't want to take part in something like that. It's just not for me. It's just not who I am anymore. It's just not. And
Oh,
Michael J. I don't want to poke
I
the
hope.
bear.
Well, wait a second. So Michael J's not aware of this.
No, no, he's not aware of
Oh,
it.
okay. That's different then. Okay.
Right, right. And I don't know. And the thing is, as soon as it came out, like Cody, who used to be kind of tight with Michael J, our Cody Robinson, he was actually on his website. There was a little bit of a falling out. So the thing is, Michael J is known for
Yeah.
having falling outs with people. So now, even with me, I haven't spoken to him in a couple years, but I don't want to. He got mad at me for a dumb reason. It was way back in the argument that happened with freaking
Modern wrestling.
involving Alex. No,
Sorry.
Alex.
Sorry.
When Alex and Dan were doing their thing, and I got involved, and I was going at it with freaking Dan and Lacey. Think about how long ago that was. That was the last argument I've had online. So, but he took part in it. He thought that I was saying something mean about Lacey when I wasn't. I was saying it about Dan. Not that it should make a difference, but he thought I was
Let's
insulting.
be a dick
well,
to Dan.
well, the thing is, you don't insult a female's appearance at any point. And
Yeah.
someone thought I was, but I wasn't talking about her. I was talking about him. It was just a stupid joke. I said, fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life from Animal House. It was just a freaking thing.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, so because that went down, he hasn't talked to me since. And that's fine, but I don't want enemies. And if he doesn't want to talk to me, that's fine. I get it. I don't get it, but that's just Michael J. I just didn't want to poke the bear. So now what happens is Chris Robinson, yeah. Cody Robinson has the falling out. So now everyone that used to be in
Christopher
Rabbit and
Robinson.
Red.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, him too. I just watched that too. We'll talk about that. But I was thinking when I said Chris Robinson, I was thinking of freaking
Counting Crows. Yeah. Counting Crows, right? Yeah.
Yeah, in CRB.
Or
Chris
Black
Robinson
Crows.
Brotherhood.
Black Crows, not Counting
Yeah,
Crows.
Black Crows.
I said Counting Crows.
Oh God. In
One,
CRB,
two.
you got to get CRB. Chris Robinson Brotherhood, great freaking stuff right there. But anyway, what was I saying? So Cody all of a sudden added all these people to the Skeleton Crew group page that wasn't there before, like 20, 30 people. I'm like, okay, I see what's going on here. It's just going to be a pile on for Michael J. And listen, I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it in some respects, but I know those people would get off on it and have fun and everything. And that's fine. It's just for me personally, I would have felt I was doing something mean-spirited if I continued to, because I already said bad things on the show. I was like, this movie isn't good.
Didn't know the
And
history.
it wasn't. Yeah.
I mean, I knew some of the history, but I thought maybe you guys all made up or whatever. Like I didn't know that, so I had no clue that this was done without his knowledge. That does make it a little bit weirder now.
Yeah.
I'm editing this whole thing out. I'm kidding.
Now you got to
But-
keep it in.
No,
Because
no.
I haven't said
I mean, that's
to
why.
them.
Yeah. So,
You know
but
what I mean? I'm not taking part in it, and they're having a blast with it, and I'm not going to rain on their parade. It just wasn't for me, and they're just doing their, and it's cool. I'll be back on the other Skeleton Crew stuff. It wasn't really my bag. I
Mhm.
felt for me it would have been, I don't know, and maybe it's not mean spirited at all, but in my head, I would have been contributing to something where I felt I was maybe being mean spirited, and I don't want to make fun of anyone's physical appearance or anybody's stuff, or I just don't want to do it, you know. So maybe
Well-
I'm just too sensitive, but
well, no, but it's to say what I said earlier. Like the reality is that I think most people that were film fans or whatever that wanted to make their own stuff, that's what their stuff looked like. Now I don't know how far
Yeah.
along he was. I don't know how old he was. That all plays into it. And so similar to you, I don't want to shit on anybody's parade. That's what my stuff looked like. But when I made them, I was 13,
Yeah.
14 at that point. By the time I was
Right.
15, I
Same
think
here.
things started looking a little bit more like there were more structure to it. However, like I don't know if that was all ad-libbed. I don't know if he wrote the scripts. It sounds like some of it may have been written. Some of it was ad-libbed on the fly, a combination of each. But like I said, I would have never gone. So I give him power to the fact that he did an hour and a half film, because I would have never thought that anybody would have been interested in watching something that was made on a camcorder with in-camera editing at the time for more than like 5-10 minutes. That seemed to be the typical running time. 10 minutes was tops. 15 was like, oh, here we go. Here's our epic.
Well, my stuff was long. Like I would have newscasts, and there'd be a lead story, and it would be a continuous story, like the news. This guy killed somebody. We're gonna see what happens next. Is he gonna get freaking? The mob gets involved. This guy gets broken out of jail. But it was all in. It's hard to explain. I wish I could. I should put my stuff out there. I really should, but it's hard to do. I got to take my iPhone and film it off a TV screen and then upload that to YouTube.
Yeah, for
That's the
like
only way.
40 of us that are going to watch it or something like that. That's it. Because not everybody's going to be interested in that. Trust me, I know, because I
Right.
put my old shit on the show. Actually, speaking of which, did I mention it on the show? Yeah, maybe I did. That the guy that I made the comedy show with reached out to me, but it was the weirdest thing. He reached out to me. It's like, hey,
Mhm.
how's it going? We texted back and forth on Messenger a couple of times, and then that was it. There's no
Okay.
I don't know if he was like wanting me, like maybe I'll have to audition. Hey, you want to get together? But it's just been crazy because I've rekindled relationships with two people that I kind of lost contact with recently as well. And so it's been like I'm going from 0 to 100, like going from living my life the way I've lived it for the last like
Hmm.
5+ years, and all of a sudden now reincorporating going out and hanging out with people and again, trust me, I love it, but it's just when you're set in your ways for a bit and you go a different way, now it's almost like, what am I, like all of a sudden Mr. Social again? Go twice with
Right.
this person, go with there. It gets expensive. I would guess where I was yesterday. You'll never guess.
Don't tell me you went to the. No, it's not going on. No, I'm not going to guess. The Eden Center. I don't know.
No, a CFL game, Canadian Football League
Really?
game. Yeah, I saw the
Wow.
Ticats play the Calgary Stampeders.
Wow. How about that? Did you have fun?
Yeah, well, I'm like we it was a kind of epic. We went out like midday, drank some beer, ate some wings, went to the game.
Well, wait a minute.
So
Why was this game being played near you? What about the Argos?
well, the Argos are in Toronto. The
Yeah.
Ticats are in Hamilton.
Oh, Hamilton
Hamilton's
has a team too?
Yeah, Hamilton has a team too,
What?
and they're
Have they
huge
always?
diehard fans. Yeah, it's been huge. I
No
saw
one ever
Ticats
talks
game.
about it.
Oh yeah, it's huge here. But here, let me rephrase that. It's huge in Hamilton and surrounding area, and it's huge in Saskatchewan and Calgary, I think. Saskatchewan also because they don't have anything else. Like their hockey, they have no local hockey teams, so I think they just gravitated towards that. Like CFL it's big, big. It's not NFL, of
Well,
course, it
nothing
never will
is.
be, but it's big. I mean, these guys don't get paid all that well from my understanding and whatnot. I think this is the game I've seen in my life, and the other two games I was a kid. An Argos game and I think
Yeah.
a Ticats game. Like I was a kid, so I will say the stadium holds 20,000 people. It was like 3/4 full, maybe a bit
Nice.
more. So it's crazy. It's like right in the middle. It's like right in the middle of like some Hamilton suburb. The stadium. It's crazy. I'd hate to
And it's
live there.
always here. It's always been there. I
At the
live
stadium,
closer to Hamilton
yeah,
than I do Toronto, yet all my life I've only heard about the CFL team being the Argonauts. That is it.
that's
I've never, what do they call the Hamilton what?
Ticats, Tiger
Maybe
Cats.
I heard
Yeah.
it in passing, but it seems like everybody in Buffalo, Niagara Falls, when they talk about CFL, they talk about the Argos. I never heard anybody talk about the Ticats.
It's
Weird.
crazy because well, maybe because Toronto's larger. However, I'd say that there's the Ticats fans are definitely more vocal. Like it's got a fan base. I couldn't
I
name a
think
player on the team. I think I could name one now, Lawrence, 21 or whatever, because I think he was a star player. But other than that, I might not even have that right. Like that's how bad it is. But I mean, I'm not much better for NFL, to be honest. Like the amount that I don't know of NFL is shocking. Like people are like, oh, well, of course you've heard of so and so. I'm like, nope.
but you haven't.
Yeah.
So Canada, I'm glad. I got to ask you a couple questions. First of all, this is the discussion we were. Well, did I tell you I saw Moods? Well, you know personally, but did I talk about it on the show?
Yeah. And you guys met up in person.
Yeah. So I went out the last Saturday night and I met him in a bar in Buffalo, and I made sure that I He had some wings out here. I made sure that he had pizza, good buffalo pizza, which he said he loved. And I got him some sponge candy from Buffalo. I wanted to get him some more things, but I met him and his wife out, and I had a drinks, and hung out in the evening. It was great. And then the next night after football, my wife and I both went out, and we had drinks with them and hung out, and it was a great time. But one of the things we were talking about, and I kept telling my wife, I gotta ask, because she's insistent on it. And she always tells me that in Canada, everything you order for meat has to be well done. If you go to get a steak in Canada, it's got to be well done. They
Nope.
won't do it less.
No,
And I
no,
told
no,
her,
no.
no. See,
No, who said this?
my wife said that everybody
No,
tells her that. And she goes, next time you
no,
talk to anybody Canadian, that's what everybody tells us. But Mood said to a degree, it is true where he's from, where
no,
what can you
burgers,
get well?
burgers only. You go to any burger place, it's well done. They do. There's no. Would you like that rare? There's no asking if you have a burger.
Well,
There's
nobody
no option for rare. No, and I go to the States. They ask me all the time. It's always shocking. I'm like,
for a
cooked?
burger?
Yeah, yeah. Well, every
Well, where do
time
you
I go
go
for
on
a
like a
burger,
nice sit down?
like
Okay,
any
that's
sit down
if
place,
you
you
went.
sit down. Yeah,
Okay. Like if you go to McDonald's or Burger King, they don't say well done or anything. You just get a
no,
burger and that's it. Okay.
no. So
All right.
the meat has to be approved, like I think by Canada as well, and then but like if you go down to a sit down place, there's no option for it's like your burger's medium well or well. A
How does that
steak,
make
I could get a
sense?
steak blue. I could get a steak rare. I've always
Why?
had
How
my
does
steak
it
rare.
make sense? If meat is
Because
meat,
no, because it's processed meat. It's ground up. That's where E. coli
processed.
comes from. Yeah.
Do they
Sorry,
say processed
processed,
in Canada?
processed. For fuck's sake,
Well,
whatever.
when I was a
Forget
kid,
it
we would
about it.
always hear the Canadian shows and they say real processed cheese. They would
Yeah.
always say. Yeah.
Well,
But you
anyway,
don't. You say
they
processed.
yeah, but you know me and my enunciation and pronunciation. Like
True.
it's all over the fucking place. So then the yeah, for steaks, no issue. Like, prime rib steak, no issue.
Okay, I think
Um,
Mood basically said the same thing, but he's from a different section. So I was trying to figure out if it was
section.
a province thing. You know what I mean?
DEFCON 4. He lives in DEFCON 4.
So it is all of Canada. So she was wrong. She was misinformed, I should say, where it always has to be rare or some shit or well done. I mean,
Yeah, rare is what I want. Like I love my stuff rare. Other than my hamburger, my hamburger's my hamburger. And I tried a rare burger in the States one time, and it's just weird to bite into a burger and see it pink.
Nah, yeah.
Because that's where they say, although typically safe, over time that's where the bacteria grew. Because when a steak, it's just surface bacteria. So even if you want it blue, it's like sizzle, flip, sizzle. They kill the surface bacteria and they serve it to you if you like it, like mooing, as they jokingly say, where you cut
Mooing?
into it. Well, like you
Oh,
cut into
like
it
a cow.
barely. It's blue. It's blue.
Right. This
Uh,
thing's still
whereas
moving.
that's a little too
Mooing.
much for me, but I like rare. Like I've cut into it where you're sitting
That's
beside
fair.
somebody that has well done, and they're almost getting sick watching you. But it's just if it's a
Yeah,
good steak, it's like
that was
butter. It's
me.
amazing. I love it.
I only started eating that stuff that wasn't well done like 2 years ago. After all
Oh,
my life,
really?
always well done, and now I'm just medium.
Yeah.
That's fine. I could add some pink and other stuff in there, and it's okay. But it took me a long, long time to obviously to get there. But it's
Yeah.
cool. I just wanted to double check and see. So you and Moods are on the same page with that. That's really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
But
we're on
yeah,
the same page that your wife is dead wrong. I'm just kidding.
yeah. Well, they told her that shit. People are they're misinforming her, and I said, I don't know. That doesn't sound right to me. So it's just burgers. It's not steaks. It's just burgers only. If you go to like
Yeah.
a nice like a TGI Fridays or some shit, I don't know where you get a
There
nice
was
burger. I don't go
there
out for
was
nice
a
burgers. I
there
make
was
my
a
own.
place there was a place that is no longer around, but not for this reason, that I guess they pasteurize their meat, kind of like pasteurized milk, and so it's flash heated or whatever it is before, so it kills all the bacteria. So they would say, would you like it? Would you like it rare? Or our burgers have a bit of pink, but it's natural in them. If you want it done well done, we could do it well done. And they would give you the choice, but they would cook it to a medium rare unless you told them. But they had signs everywhere saying our meat is pasteurized, so pink in the middle is normal if you want it cooked further, let us know.
Oh,
But
okay. Well,
the place was called Licks. It started as an ice cream joint, expanded into a really
yeah,
good burger
licks.
joint, and then now I think there's one left. It's weird. Like they had a weird upper management problem, as if not paying their bill. Like people came to the locations and the doors were chained lock one day, and then
Wow.
the chain was gone.
Oh, like that movie. What was that movie? They came up to work.
Chained
Whatever.
heat.
It doesn't matter. No, it was another movie that was recent, but they didn't chain it up. Somebody killed somebody there. But it was a movie though from this
So
year.
how? So did you actually get
Which
Moods' first name?
I've known Moods' first name.
I
Actually,
know, I
he's
know. But do you call him like when you see him? Do
yes,
you call him Moods?
yes, sure I do.
It's
Yeah,
hilarious. It's awesome.
yeah,
It just is
yeah,
just become that like Mr. Watson's always going to be Mr. Watson.
yeah. My wife
Like
doesn't know. She knows him as Moods. Well, the thing is, his wife refers to him as Mike. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Let's
but
just say this and this. So then you'll know because she obviously does. But the thing is,
and he's Michael J,
you
the
know,
guy that directed the movie we're talking
yeah, he's really Michael J. Imagine that. Dude, he's making movies. Imagine if somebody could pull that off. They're gonna have two identities online.
Yeah.
Someone and they're the same person all those years. That'd be some shit. If you could never show pictures of yourself, it could work. It could work. You'd have two complete identities, two complete different. You could even stage arguments with yourself online and have it look real. Man, that would have been an idea. I should have started it 10 years ago just to entertain myself. This guy, this, because I do have two IDs too. Okay, this guy will be this person. This guy will be this random.
Doesn't a lot of people do that? They just don't have no time on their hands, and that's what they do. They just live online and catfish people left, right, and center.
Maybe I don't want to catfish anybody. I just meant for fun, not to for not for nefarious reasons, just for like almost like an experiment.
Holy shit.
Holy
So you
shit.
said the magic word there, now it just spun off in a different way. We could come back to moods and whatever after, but hear this out. So I went with this group of guys. Now, one of them is a friend that I grew up with. He's a godfather of my son. Haven't seen him in a few years, though, but he just lives fucking 15 minutes away, dude, not even. We saw him a year and a half ago, but he hasn't been over for like a social thing for a while. Just we went out for drinks, but not with the families or whatever. Anyway,
Right.
we went to his house first to kind of meet up to get the taxis and whatever to get Ubers or whatever to get to the game. There's a group of people, most of the people that he works with, and his wife has kids from a relationship years ago. They're grown now, fully grown, whatever. Her son's a huge horror fan. A guy he works with is a huge horror fan. We're talking about just horror for a bit, so it's a fantastic conversation because usually, like
Yeah,
as we
man.
call them normies, you don't get to talk about this. So I'm talking to
Right.
them. We're talking about like how the son loves Halloween 3. He goes, I don't know why I get shit on. I really like it as a standalone movie. I'm like, you're not
Sure.
alone. There's a whole. I
Right.
didn't like it as a kid because I didn't want something different because I didn't expect something different with the Halloween name attached. Again, if it came out of the season of the witch, I probably wouldn't have even cared. And it would have been an argument. But the fact that I didn't know the history, that whatever, you're just expecting another Michael Myers entry, whatever it may be, I didn't like it back then. I think we've documented it on the show. Now I
Mm-hmm.
love it. So,
Yeah.
or I've
Just like
grown to
me.
love it. Like it's
Yep.
turned from like to love. Now,
Yeah.
we're talking about that for a bit. Hellraiser, he loved the new Hellraiser, but doesn't like the original ones. Just was
Huh.
shocked because he was expecting more of the Cenobites in the original, and then kind of was like surprised that it was not really about them and they were secondary characters. So it's
Right.
interesting when you get people's take that are coming from the new stuff and then to go back as
Yeah.
well to visit it. So he wasn't as high on that, but a few movies came up and we're talking about modern ones. And Talk to Me was, of course, the first one that popped up. Fucking Ian, that I've known for a bit, but again works with my friend. Goes, hey, did anybody see Nefarious? Like
Mm.
for a like to me, I was shocked like that he pulled that one. I'm like, that's a deep like a sort of like a weird thing for someone to bring up. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I saw it because you recommended it to me, but I would have never expected anyone to bring that up in a casual conversation about horror.
Well, did it play at the theater? Is the
No,
question.
no,
You
no.
sure?
I think he. I'm very positive. I think he has IPTV, like you do, or like a very
Oh,
similar version of that. And I think
so
he
he has
caught it.
everything.
Yeah, I think he managed to catch it on that. But it was just such an odd movie for him to bring up because horror fans haven't seemed to be talking about it. So it was interesting that this guy brought it up. And I said, yeah. And I told him how shocked I was that that was the one he was mentioning. And we were trying not to ruin it for people because we said it was intriguing, but
Right.
essentially a movie about two people talking to one another, and it's their conversation and how it sort of builds. Obviously, what they're talking about as well is important, but I was trying to be very cryptic without giving it away. But I said like that for a low budget, and two, like one maybe known actor, one not so known, and kind of secondary, that they managed to carry the movie and do a great job.
Yeah, man.
So, but still a
Great.
very deep cut for
For
someone just to pull
sure.
out. I was like, I was shocked.
Isn't that something? Just
Yeah,
sometimes people, they'll surprise you with something like that. Yeah, that's freaking, that's wild. So, oh, what
yeah.
was I going to tell you
Well, we were
about
talking
that?
about you didn't want to be nefarious. We're talking about having two profiles on Facebook
Oh,
and
wow.
and being that. And yeah,
Fuck Facebook. So,
that's what we got out of fuck Facebook.
that's what at the end of the day, that's what who gives a fuck? So it's like, okay. So you must not have. Did you see freaking Saw 10 or not?
No, I'm waiting for Jocelyn. She comes home. I pick her up Thursday, and Friday we're gonna go see it at a matinee. Only because it's Thanksgiving weekend for us coming up next weekend.
Oh, that's
So
right.
yeah, so it's gonna be something that she's a huge Saw fan, and so I've heard some great things about it so far, but I have tried to like, that's it. I kind of stopped it there, and I'm just waiting to see it with her on Friday.
Then I won't say nothing. I'll be talking later on tonight about it, but I've seen it twice now. I saw the opening was
I thought
Thursday.
you went back again. Yeah.
Yeah, I went back yesterday morning. I had to.
Well, I
I
heard
couldn't
it's
take
right
notes the
back with
first time.
those first movies. I heard that's the one thing I've heard is that if you're a fan of those first six, you're gonna feel right at home.
Exactly. It's a freaking it's like I said with Scream. It's just like I said when that Scream 5 came out, that the Scream fanboys are gonna eat it up first and foremost. And that's the way I feel about Saw fanboys. For me, it was like a love letter to the franchise. And because I'm so into all the characters and I'm into the first six and everything else the way I am, that it was just like awesome fan service for me. However, at the same time, the movie comes out now. It was just what they needed to do. And I really hope this is the end of it because it's like a perfect, even though it takes place between one and two, it's the perfect way to wrap up the series with something that had heart and showed a different side of Jigsaw, more of that. And I'll just leave it at that without getting into spoiler or anything.
Nice. I'm
It was
excited.
needed. It was needed to see this for this franchise, and it's like the perfect capper. It's like the cherry on top for me. They should not do anything else with it after this comes out. It should just be those 10 films. And I don't want to hear that freaking that Spiral is not part of it. Even though Jigsaw is not in it, that's the only one he's not in, except by picture. That's like saying legitimately, that is just like saying that Halloween 3 doesn't belong in the Halloween franchise. You know why it belongs in the Halloween franchise? Because Halloween is in the title.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
True.
what makes it a Halloween
Very
franchise. If it
true.
was just called Season of the Witch, it would not be part of the Halloween franchise, but it's called Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. Now, it's the same thing with Spiral. Why is it the same? Because it's a spiral colon from the book of Saw. So by having Saw in the title, that automatically includes it into a franchise, same as
Mhm.
Halloween 3. So you can't have it both ways. I'm sorry, but it is. And I watched them all for Jay's show. By the way, people, please go listen to Jay the Dead's new horror movies. If you have not, get on it, man. But we've been going through the whole franchise one a week. And um what was I gonna say about that show? About
Oh,
Hold
probably
on.
about you watched the Saw movies for it, so I'm assuming you're
I
talking.
watched the Saw movies, right? And it's just been like I forgot what I was gonna say. Um, yeah. So I watched Spiral again for it just last week, and I got to tell you, I was not looking forward to watching it again.
But we
I
liked it. You and I liked it. Brandon's the one
We
that didn't like it.
liked it.
Yeah.
We liked it, but I liked it the same way I liked Jigsaw in the final chapter, like 6.5 area. Like it was fine, but it didn't do
Yeah.
anything to strengthen the series. It was, and in my opinion, it kind of hurt the series. But I will tell you this: I enjoyed watching Spiral as a standalone story more than I did those other two this time around. It was a good story, and I liked it. Hi,
Well,
honey. What
I
you
did
doing?
too.
I got my girls down here, Ginjins and Frankie. Lucky's not down here, honey. It's just Ginny.
Did
So
Franny
yeah,
see Saw 10?
yeah, Frankie, what'd you think about Saw 10?
Franny, I said.
She said, really good. You always do that.
Yeah.
There
Always.
you go. Better than the last couple, she said. Yeah,
Nice.
she's right. Right on.
Nice.
Well, I will tell you this. Just let it be. Let it be after these 10 now, because that is the perfect way to go out on top. I hope they don't say, well, the thing is, see, I can't say anything. I don't want to spoil anything. But I
Well,
will just say this. I
who
can't
knows
believe
now?
how good he
Yeah.
looks. I can't
Yeah.
believe how good it works because he looks so well for being 81 years old. How well he looks that it isn't that unbelievable. It actually works out. That's what I was concerned with. So
Yeah. I mean, someone else
there it
used it
is.
as a critique, but it's not a critique for me because I knew that going in. Um, I don't care. It's a movie. I mean, I get what they're trying to do. The fact that they've already established that it takes place between these ones, and we're filming it it was made so much later. It's a non-issue. So and we know he's is ill and sick based on the storyline of what's to come. So yeah, it was never going to be a problem for me. That was going to be the least of my worries. But
You're gonna like
I'm
it,
glad to hear
man.
it. I'm glad to hear
It's
it. That's and I don't know
yeah,
if you remember,
it's really good.
I really enjoyed the first Saw. Like when saw the first Saw, I was blown away,
Well,
especially
who
because of
didn't?
that reveal and
Yeah,
whatever, right? But when
yeah,
Saw 2 came out, I was just kind of mixed, and I was kind of in, even though I was a
yep.
horror fan, I was just kind of in and out of watching the series. I became a fan after. And then I saw the 3D one in the theater, and I thought that was bad. I told you it was really
Right.
dark. It just looked
Yep.
dark and murky. And again, I'm not a
Yep.
big fan of that anyway. It's my least favorite one in the series. I feel like the pacing's off. I feel like the acting's off. I feel like they just wedged in new characters when they didn't need to wedge in any new characters. They could have wrapped it up just a little bit easier, but for whatever reason, they decided to go a different route. It's not,
I'll tell you,
but
Jigsaw is my least favorite now. I preferred uh final chapter a little more just because it still had freaking Hoffman in it and Jill and is Amanda in that still for flashbacks? Maybe in Jigsaw himself. So just because it's part of that original storyline, even though I don't like what they did and the decisions they made, when I said it, there's still a familiarity to it when I
yeah,
watch that one that Jigsaw doesn't have at all because it's a whole different thing and Spiral doesn't have not even a piece of. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes
But
sense.
this but this brings it back to prominence. This one says
Yeah,
freaking those last three movies, like I've been saying, didn't do anything to help the franchise. This one helps the franchise, and now it still sits as my number three franchise, and I feel more strongly about it now
well,
that it's that
here,
good because of it.
so without like, I won't. Oh my god, like my hands are like blown out there.
Yeah, it's white too.
DEFCON 5, 5, and 6. The so this fits nicely in between. As you said, I hope they don't do anything more. Maybe they could do Spiral Book of Saw 2 or whatever and go that route because this fills in that gap. You can't really fill any more gaps because if I'm not mistaken, 3, 4, and 5 all take place around the same time. Now there might be a 6 month window in between 2 and 3. If that maybe they can do the same thing again if they wanted to, and do a movie that takes place in between. But I'd have to go back and analyze that. But I think there is a 6 month window or a 1 year window that was in between. But then 3, 4, and 5 are all together, and he dies there, as we well know. And the fact that they were able to use him post mortem
Right.
and be able to get some life out of it for 6 and 7, it was funny and fun at the time. But where I'm going with it
Yeah.
is, does this bridge the total gap between 1 and 2? And unless you can't say anything because it's too spoilery, and so there's no room for them to do another one that would be wedged in with this to to go in between 1 and 2. But there might be, I think, some space between
Maybe
2 and 3. Okay.
maybe they could, but it would seem even more contrived. The fact that they did this once works, and I'm glad they did it. But there's only so much disbelief you can suspend on what they're going to have time to do. This I can accept,
With
but
the
if you
almighty
make a
dollar,
habit
right?
of it, if you
Yeah.
make a habit of it, you're going to ruin it. It would be too contrived. It would
Um,
be, and you don't want that because this one
well,
works. This one you can
unless they
accept.
did the same thing, man. Unless they did the same thing, because okay, we understand there's
What do
non-fanboys
you
there,
mean?
but
There's
the
no
ones that
time.
do well, if there is, they did one every year. So unless they came up with a 3 script idea that this one's going to go there, this one's going to go there, and this one's going to go here, and we could bridge these gaps together, no differently than they did with 3, 4, and 5, where there's a little piece of the story told in each, and it just kind of carries it on. It's like I said, it was almost soap opera-esque, and they just give enough of the story that they could go there. If there was enough of a gap that they said we could still put 11 here, right beside 10, in between 1 and 2, and then we could put 12 between 2 and 3, and then that's it. And
Yeah.
then we're finally done with the Tobin Bell Jigsaw version, and everything else will have to be, because they can reinstate the, like, well, again, I don't know where this one goes, but they can build upon the stuff that maybe had a big question mark, and maybe that stuff is being answered in the movie we got now. So I'm going to be cryptic, but like, how your Dr.
Hmm.
Gordon stuff, like, build upon that, whatever it may be, there's some option and some room for another kind of story. And there's some things that were shown in flashback, I think, from future installments or latter installments, that we see that we're like, well, when did this happen? When would that have happened? And that they can incorporate, possibly, or whatever.
Well, they showed when it happened. They always showed what traps they were setting up for, what discussions they were having, and why, and what was going on in those flashbacks. I'm
Well, there's
telling
some
you,
with those, the lawnmower one and whatever. Wasn't that all left in kind of in
oh, that
limbo?
was just a 3-second thing of a survivor that they used in the survivors meeting. So yeah, I guess if you want to see that trap, sure, okay, that's possible. I just think it would be a mistake. It would be regurgitation of
I hear
something
you.
that just worked right now. You know,
Yep.
it would be
Yep.
regurgitation. Like right now, what they did is perfect. They'd be pushing it too much. Right now, what they did was perfect, and it's almost like this was Jigsaw's story. This was personal to him. This whole thing that went on here, it directly affected him, and that's why it works that it would have happened. And you must know something about the story. If you've seen a trailer, I don't know. Have you seen a trailer?
I saw the original trailer, but not. Again, I didn't watch. I watched it twice. Wait, when it was a teaser trailer, and then when the new trailer came out, it looked like it was a whole scene of a trap. I'm like, oh, I don't want to watch that. I got to wait till I for the theater, because that stuff that drives me crazy. They're like, I get what they're trying to do. They're using, like, there was a whole trap, the eye trap, or one of the traps that they showed almost
Oh,
full
did they?
sequence. And I believe I didn't watch the whole thing. Oh, is this another trailer? But I clicked on it. I'm like, oh no, this is one of those. We're going to show you a scene and get you to want to go see the movie. I'm like, for that type of thing, I'll just go see the movie. But
So
I
the
saw
trailer
the teaser trailer or
showed
whatever
you.
when it came out.
So the trailer showed you nothing about the plot. So you're going having no idea what the plot about is whatsoever.
To be honest,
Yes or
if it
no?
did tell me about it, I totally forgot. Like,
Then I'm
so
not going to
I'm
say anything.
yeah,
Okay,
I'm going
that's
in
fine.
pretty
I'll
blind.
just say that this is personal to Jigsaw. To do anything else is going to be, I don't know. It would cheapen it to me because they did this so well. It ends perfectly. It works out, and it's like it's almost funny. It's almost like this movie should have been the one titled Jigsaw, because this is his
Yeah.
movie. He's on the screen more in this movie. He has more screen time in this movie than all of them. And I heard somebody said something last night on Facebook, and it was something about they saw that it was a missed opportunity. It's too bad they killed off John Kramer when they did, because they had the sequels without him, and seeing how good this was, what other stories could have we have gotten? And I go, my opinion is that what we got in Saw 4, 5, and 6 was perfect to have. I would rather have Jigsaw on flashback explaining everything that led up to what.
Jigsaw in flashback, just like Christian in flashback last week.
Right. Christian in flashback. Right?
Jigsaw in flashback. There's where they go with the series.
I think it works better. I would rather see the flash. I'm glad they killed him off at the end of 3, because if they didn't, then what are you going to be doing? You got. I'm glad they brought in Hoffman to take over the things there and have the stuff and have the flashbacks with everything. I thought it worked out just perfectly. You got present and you got past, and you still got to enough of Jigsaw in it. So I'm glad it was the way it was, and they still could do this now. I don't want anything changed about the franchise, to be honest.
Well,
so,
and you know me, I, for whatever reason, have a love for part 5. It's funny because I mentioned that to Warren, and Warren was not a fan. Warren did not like it.
I don't even want to talk about it. He hated 3. I can't even talk to him about when someone tells me they hate Saw 3, that automatically excludes me having a conversation with you about the Saw franchise. Because if you can't love 3, everybody loves 3. Everyone that I've talked to in the Jay of the Dead, because these guys never saw past part 1, a couple of the guys. That's why we did it.
Yeah.
And we were like, no, you got to see it. They were condemning the series before they saw it. I'm like,
well,
we can't.
This is what I don't understand. You've mentioned this a few times on the show, and again, I know some of them listen, and so please don't take. These sound like very weird horror fans, because they have a podcast, they have a passion for horror, but like you said, they prejudged the series before they saw it, and it was a huge fucking series. So I just find it difficult to, how are they horror fans with not seeing them? And if I'm not mistaken, even when you go to old school horror, there's a lot of gaps, like a lot of movies missing. So I don't listen to the show just because of time and whatever, but you've brought up on the show a few times that I'm perplexed at if they're really horror fans or not.
Well, they've been doing podcasts as long as we have, some of them. So a lot of them aren't.
Like, I get not like, I mean, what did they see? If they saw the first Saw movie, what, like, I don't understand it. I'm not saying you have to, but like, to judge it or not even to have seen it from this point, 20 years later, you haven't seen any of the other ones or whatever, it seems weird to me. And then
I'll have to ask them directly, because they've seen everything else, like everything old they've seen. Like the 2 people that hadn't seen them all were Gilman Joel and Doc Shock. And Doc Shock's seen everything. And I'm talking about everything, not just horror. He's like an encyclopedia of movies. You can talk to him about any movies. He could talk to you about history of film and everything. He's way educated on all different genres of film and a lot of horror. So why he didn't watch the Saw movies, I don't know. I guess just publicity got around about them all being torture porn nonsense. And at the time, I don't know. Same thing with Joel. Joel has seen a lot of stuff, Giallo, old movies, horror, just everything. But for whatever reason, they were turned off to the Saw. And I can't remember. Maybe they saw one of the sequels and didn't like. I cannot remember. I'm going to have to ask them.
I admit, I just said it earlier. I watched 1, loved it, saw 2, and wasn't that blown away with 2 out of the gate, to be honest. People were raving about it. Again, it seemed like more like non-horror fans seemed to love it, which is why they were so popular. I think it just hit at the right time as well, that it just, like, I was shocked at how gory they were, that mainstream were loving it. But then by the time 3 came out, I think that's when I said at 3 and 4, I'm like, I'm going to start watching these. And I went back and I ended up watching them. So that I like I said, like, so that by that point I was all up to date, but it's not like I went right away. If there was any hesitation, it may have been like 1 movie hesitation. Then I'm like, oh wow, this is like kind of like the millennium's answer to Friday the 13th or whatever, in the sense of like a new movie coming out every year, more or less, and whatever. And finally we had that with Final Destination a little earlier.
And then Paranormal Activity.
Why am I not giving these their due? So
Right.
I did watch them, but it's like, I'm not saying I have no blind spots, but to outright say like I didn't want to, like there's certain things like I said, shot on video, I won't go check out unless we're doing it. Someone makes us do it for the show. I'm not going to go out of my way to see that. But I think maybe I'm wrong. Maybe to argue that and to say that makes sense, but for them not to see these ones doesn't make sense. They're just
Well,
such
I'm going to ask them on the show.
mainstream. They're it's such a popular franchise in the horror genre. Doesn't mean you have to like them, but it's such a popular genre, franchise that just to outright sort of ignore them when they came out seems weird to me.
I'm going to ask them both next time I record on the show, tonight with Joel and next time with Dave. I'll ask them. I'll say, hey, what was the reason you didn't watch these movies when being a horror fan
Yeah.
and seeing all this other stuff? Because I'm sure I never thought about that. But yeah, I just know they got a lot of bad publicity online. So I think a lot of people just didn't want to see it. And they labeled it as just torture porn and something. I don't know. I do not know. But it doesn't have the best reputation, just like Paranormal Activity. It just is what it is. People like to hate on it for whatever reason. And
Yeah.
and that's what people have misconceptions about it. So, but I will find out. But speaking of that, I keep forgetting to, because I probably did tell you that on Jay the Dead's new horror movies Jay is a patron. He listens to all the shows and he loved the 200 show. Did I tell you that he was doing that thing about the using our list as like an official thing for
Yes.
to do
Yeah,
the
that's cool.
reviews? Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know
that's
if
when
I told
yeah,
you.
you mentioned a few shows back, if I'm remembering correctly.
So that's cool. Okay. So there's been a lot of support from them, especially
Awesome.
Jay. So yeah.
Well, and again, it's my gosh, I'm trying to make a conscious decision to stop saying "and again" or
Me
"again."
too.
I've mentioned it a few shows back. I only hear it every time I'm editing the shows. It drives me fucking bonkers. And there, I just did it again. So
I do it too. It sucks. It's not as bad as some other things. Well,
my
maybe it is
Lord.
as bad as some other things.
It's
I don't
it's
know.
like it's a go-to segue for me. I think. And again, and again, and again. Motherfucker.
I know, me too, man.
But I haven't listened to any podcasts. I mentioned this a few shows back as well.
Yeah.
I've been very, very crazy with doing this or watching movies for this. I got kind of behind on 2023's. We'll get to that too, because we should talk about
could
maybe
talk
some of the things
about-
we watched.
Yeah,
but-
we can.
I've been watching. It's weird because it's mostly been a mixture. I didn't do any more film noir because although I was enjoying them, and I do have a short list of other ones I want to watch, I was, like I said, falling behind on some of these other ones. I'm like, I got to start catching up on slashers and 2023s.
Yeah, that's about it. Slasher 2020, and now I got to do 2011 for freaking 22 shots. So I got all this stuff going on. It's out of control because 2011 is the new year. So, but yeah, what was I going to tell you? So 2011 slasher, yeah, and freaking 1980s and 2023s. Lots of stuff. I still have to record some stuff from 2023 in my letterbox that I haven't. I'll tell you, I did watch that Winnie the Pooh movie the other night.
Yeah, Blood and Honey. What'd you think?
Blood and Honey wasn't bad.
I know it's generic, but it's
Good kills.
yeah. I mean, that's exactly it's a slasher.
It's fun.
Yeah,
It's fun in that way. It's not goofy the way I thought it was going to be. So I was like, okay, I can do it. Bring on some more. Especially when the fate of Piglet is still out there. And I was like, what the hell happened here? They showed Piglet in a precarious position, and then we never see him again. For like 20 minutes and the movie ends. I'm like, what happened to Piglet? And I also couldn't figure out that well, Eeyore guy.
what a funny situation this is. What happened to Piglet?
Well, yeah, I mean, of course I'm paying attention to the pig. The pig's there. It's a big deal. When isn't there a pig? So anyway, but there's this pig, and all of a sudden Piglet's gone, and they're not showing what happened. He was in a position where somebody was going to possibly hurt him, and then it cuts away, and then we don't see what happens. So I'm like, wait a minute. So since we don't know his fate, and we never got to see Rabbit and Owl, and they don't even mention Tigger for some reason. I don't know if maybe he didn't come up under public domain. but they don't even mention him. But they have Rabbit and Owl, who are at the beginning of the movie, and throughout the whole movie, all we have is Pooh and Piglet. So where are Rabbit and Owl? Maybe they come in the next one. I don't know, but I'm curious. You know what I'm saying? That's what we were trying to figure out as we're watching. How come there's only two? Where's all the rest of these animals? They're mentioned.
Maybe that's what they're banking on. That this was going to be some sort of hit, and then go from there.
Good gory kills, though, man. It's what I want to see, and it wasn't goofy. It wasn't freaking. So you know what? I don't know why people are hating on it. I'd watch it again. So
I'll have to check it out again because I was like 50-50, meaning that like, although there are good gory kills and it was fairly fast paced, I was like, what the hell am I watching here? Like, it seems so bizarre. It's just such a weird thing to exist.
Well,
but
it's better to watch with others, I think, too, as opposed to just watching it by yourself. I watched it with others and it made, you know what I mean? It made for the experience. So even though it wasn't funny, it just seems like it's a movie that you want to watch with other people.
Well, I watched that. I watched No One Will Save You.
I started it. I can't wait to finish it.
Killer Book Club. And I started Birth Rebirth. And the reason I started it is because you said it wasn't a horror film. So I watched the first 15 minutes, and so far I'm like, well, it's gory, it's whatever. So right now I can totally see why it's classified as horror, but maybe it just turns into something different from there. But there's like a whole like crazy autopsy scene, like it's all like tons of gore at the beginning. Not tons.
Maybe there isn't.
Maybe not tons of gore. Let me rephrase that. But there's good gory bits at the beginning. So I'm like, well, I don't know what Dave's talking about because right now I'm feeling like this is horror. But then Carrie came down and we ended up watching because we watched Winning Season, as I mentioned, and it did get canceled. So they only had a 7-episode run, and they kind of summed it all up right there and told the history so that it gave it a good finish. And then my thing was to watch The Queen's Gambit, so we started watching that.
Oh,
so
nice.
that's what we're doing now. But so that's I'll have to go back and revisit Birth Rebirth, but I didn't see the non-horror, not yet anyway. But I'm like I said, I'm about within 15 minutes of the movie right now. So
well, when I started watching the movie, I thought it felt horror at first for a while, for like 15, 20 minutes.
There we go.
I did feel that.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that makes
sense.
So
I felt that, but then it became not horror. And then I kept thinking, okay, it's going to turn into horror in the third act. And then it doesn't really. So you'll see. You'll see.
It seems like there's these artsy movies that have been coming out these last couple of years that they're using like a horrific idea or something, and that's what's carrying the moniker horror, but the film that's presented is typically more drama.
Yes, for sure.
So maybe this is going to fall into that. I was trying to think of the example that if I bring up my list from maybe last year, the year before, there were a few, and it seems to be Shudder movies are doing this now too. But Killer Book Club's a slasher. Killer Book Club's a foreign slasher. Is it good? No. Does it take a major page from Scream? Yes. Instead of film, they're writers. But is it worth your time? I don't think so. That's the problem. Yep, Killer. It's a new Netflix slasher movie, and it's a 4-in-1 dubbed, of course. And I would say that although there's gore, a lot of it is CG. So although you get some good bloody bits here and there, it doesn't necessarily bloody bits. It doesn't really deliver overall.
Right.
Worth checking out because it looks good. It's again, great production value, but it was just kind of underwhelming from the slasher standpoint. And the story was okay. Decent enough, but because he leans so much on the scream factor, like there's even a scene in class when you could just substitute them talking about film, like in part 2. They're talking about writing here. And it's like, wow, they just literally lifted that scene and just rewrote it about being like writing a novel or a script instead of actually a movie. It's weird. So it's like it almost feels plagiarized a bit. But like could be decent enough for some. I don't know. I doubt it would ever show up on anybody's list, but since it's we're prepping for Year of the Slasher, might be one you want to put on the list.
I'll have to look into it. I
Never
watched
boring.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Well,
No One Will Save You. Everybody's raving about this movie. Holy fuck. I watched it
didn't
with
like it.
Carrie. I thought it started off great. I thought I liked the idea that there's next to no dialogue in the movie. I thought that was very interesting. I'd love to read the script on this and just see how it's all framed. And that's pretty much where it ends. After the first 15, 20 minutes, it's rinse and repeat, drawn out. And I do not, and again, since you haven't seen the rest, I thought you watched the whole thing, so I apologize because I think I said it in chat that end capper actually took it down a whole half point for me.
I've heard a few people say that, but the thing for me is every time I hear people complain about the ending to a movie, I get excited because usually the endings that other people hate, I end up liking. It's always been that way for some reason. So
well, we'll see.
anytime I hear mass complaints about the way they ended a movie, usually I end up loving the ending because I like things unconventional.
People are going gaga over this, and it's nothing you haven't seen before. But I will say that setup is great. That setup is great. It
sounds like it, though.
The setup is
great. It sounds like
it.
it.
Everything, my God, everything else has been there, done that, and been there, done that better. So it just felt like it had nothing new to add other than their unique way of presenting it with, 2 lines of dialogue for the most part. And even that, to a certain degree, felt forced as it's a feature-length movie as well. But I will at least give it kudos for trying something new with that and whatnot. But yes, I ended up coming in fairly low, which is more like mild rumble range.
Oh shit, huh? I'll tell you, people are really liking it.
Yeah, I know. I know, and I'm not here to hate it. I'm telling you, I think my summary, without getting into specifics, since again I don't want to ruin anything for you, sums up my thought process. But like I said, started out like gangbusters. Carrie and I were on the edge of the seats. We thought it was actually scary for a bit. So like that for a 20-minute short, that would have knocked it out of the park. But then it's rinse and repeat, and every new layer that they add on just seems like, trust me, you've seen it done way better before.
Well, a 20-minute short of that, based on what little I know, sounds like that one that they used in All Hallows Eve, when there was a girl by herself and she was being chased by, I thought she in a house by herself, and there was an alien coming to get her or something. And then at the end, it got revealed she pulled like a thing. And remember, there was a picture of Art the Clown in the house. This was like the first All Hallows Eve I watched.
Yeah. I have to rewatch it, but I vaguely, yeah, because I get that with mixed up with Tales from Halloween or.
Oh, okay. No, that's fair. I get that. So I didn't watch any other 2023s except for, freaking. I watched Talk to Me Again because I had guests over and I wanted to show it to them, and that's it. As far as like all I watch is documentaries and some slashers. You see Dead Tone yet from 2007?
No,
it's on my slasher list. Okay, check it out. I liked it. Dead Tone. Yep. Yeah, interesting. Again, nothing you haven't seen before, but there's a couple decent twists, and it's a slasher. You know what I mean? And it's, I don't know. Check it out. But that's really all I've seen. Like I said, a couple documentaries that I saw twice. I saw, what else have I watched? Really nothing. Bad Dreams, I said. I don't think it's a slasher anymore, so it's disqualified. The Golden State Killer, good documentary.
You know what though? I thought about that after because I'm like, you might be right. But the way it's presented, it's a supernatural slasher. Yes, you're right. He's essentially getting people, this is Bad Dreams, to commit suicide. But it's done in such a gory ways that that's just his method of killing. So I was about to say I agreed with you in that chat. I'm like, damn it, you're right. But no, the more I thought about it afterwards, I'm like, nope, I can justify it. And it's not just because I love it. It's because I think that's just his method of murder. As convoluted as it is. No, bad dreams, as if he's, well,
No,
I
what I'm
guess,
saying is he's
oh,
possessing them. It's a possession thing, if anything. It's a possession thing, and they're bumping themselves off. So it's more of a possession story than, because it's, think about this: somebody from the outside, an outside force, a dead person, if you will. He is dead. He's a spirit. So a spirit is possessing people to kill themselves. And you think that counts as a slasher? I would think that if you're going to call that a slasher,
it's all
then you
in.
100% would have to call the Final Destination movie slashers, and I don't, for the same reason. It's a different type. What's the difference between them killing themselves or an invisible force freaking causing the sever of a head?
To be honest, the Final Destination movies kind of are slashers, in a way. The cool thing about that is they get. I don't have to worry about arguing that because it's a franchise and it's disqualified from this. But I can. It's always been Final Destination. If Freddy's a slasher, then Death is a slasher, and it's I can easily say it because all those deaths are done slasher style, where they're showpieces and set pieces of the film.
I mean, they are, but there's other movies you can compare to that do a similar thing that no one ever considers to be slasher. That's all I'm saying. Well, either way, do what you want to do. I'm just looking like Final Destination. We decided the first time around, when we were even more liberal about what was going to be constituted, that it wasn't a slasher.
We took them out,
movies, and we didn't include them. So it doesn't make sense for me. I don't know. Like I said, it's your list. Do what you want. I'm just trying, and I'm not trying to be a gatekeeper. I'm just trying to. Everybody wants to call everything horror, and everybody wants to call everything slasher, and it's getting to the point that I want to do things special where it has to be special to fit into this category to me, instead of having it that broad. Otherwise, too many things get in, then it's not special anymore. Like horror. I was going to say it earlier. I'm fucking tired. I'm tired. And I know it's going to come off sounding bad, but I'm tired of horror adjacent and horror elements. I'm tired of hearing people tell me that shit about every movie I have a question about. And this person thinks it's horror and this person doesn't. And it goes back. If there's any question at all, then the answer should be no. That's how I look at it. When in the 80s did you watch a horror movie? Or in fucking, was that a horror movie? You never had that discussion. Think about all the movies you watched in the 80s.
Very true. Very
you know
true.
What I'm saying? That's horror movies. So why do we have to have these discussions now? Because they're elevated, if you will, because they're doing, I don't know. I'm just tired of it. And I think because there's so much analytical stuff going on between podcast and between, everybody's a critic. Back in the day, there was Siskel and Ebert. Now, you and I are horror critics, so to speak, right? Yep. And you got people on YouTube. And everybody, because they're a critic and they like something, they want to wedge it into something so they could talk about it. Or maybe so they feel they didn't waste their time watching it. Or it's on Shudder, so that makes it horror. Or I got a screener from someone who usually gives me horror, so I got to call it horror. To me, there's no reason that we have to bend over backwards to fit shit into the horror. It isn't lacking. It isn't a lacking genre. I just don't horror adjacent and freaking horror elements. I'm sorry. You're just trying to freaking fit something, a square peg in a round hole. And it's the same thing with slashers to me. When I'm watching a slasher, it's something I feel. Although I got to make an amendment on something from the past. Check it out.
What is it?
Well, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Horror, whatever the fuck, Blood and Honey. That's a slasher movie, but it has two killers that we know about off the bat. But how can you not call that a slasher movie? And let's go a step further.
Yeah.
The Strangers Prey at Night, which I haven't seen in a while, but I will figure the slasher too.
Well,
we all said it was a slasher movie, and it's multiple killers.
I want that on there. Whereas the first one's a home invasion, the second one's a slasher. Here's my problem with this. I told you, we mentioned this one show. As of right now, that would be on my list, no questions asked. Depending on when we record that show, There might be one or two more already out. One will be fine, but remember, there's supposed to be a trilogy that's released. But I'm wondering with the writer's strike, that now I believe the writer's strike is done, but there's an actor's
Yeah.
strike component that's not. So I don't know if these movies are going to come out in the timing that they expect, but there's a trilogy coming out, a new trilogy of those coming out, and they're supposed to be released next year, kind of like Fear Street, where it's going to be like 1, 2, and 3, from my understanding. So depending if we're recording in August of next year or September of next year, depending on if one of the or two of them have been released, it'll be disqualified. But as of right now, I wholeheartedly agree, and that was always my argument. I was humming and hawing, and that's why just before dawn, I think it's a pass. You're right, Winnie the Pooh. There's no questions asked that that's a slasher with two
Yeah.
killers, and the Strangers Pray at Night, which that came out yesterday. That came up in conversation yesterday too, and people said they didn't like it. They preferred the original. I go, it's two different movies. So the original was a
Very
great,
much.
scary home invasion movie, and Pray at Night was a slasher film. Yeah, I'm glad. That is a perfect amendment because you're right. Those are great examples.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to be honest. I'm being honest with myself. I'm not saying I don't have a vendetta against freaking Maniac and against Bad Dreams and any other movie that I used to consider a slasher, and now I don't. I don't want to do this. All I can do is be as honest with myself as possible when I'm watching it. So I'm trying to do what I consider to be a good job as a for this podcast. I'm trying to have it a good representation
So
to put real thought
I
into it. And that's
no, I
that's
agree,
my
and this is what we're arguing. And then Bad Dreams will argue if you think
But you
Freddy
can
can
call it that.
infect. No, but if you think Freddy can affect someone's dreams to kill them, and people are questioning it in real life, and then as we've learned, it's that this is presented as um, Richard Lynch's character. I can't remember his name off the top. Affecting their lives from beyond the grave and killing them, but it's masked as suicides to allow the story to progress. But and that's what we find out is at the end with the plot twist that it is. Whether you like the plot twist or not, that's for you to decide as the viewer and go from there. But it's presented as such as a slasher, in my opinion, a supernatural
Yeah, but
slasher, but a slasher.
we don't really see anybody get slashed in the movie. That's the problem. We don't see a slasher type kill. We just hear something happen. It's all fucking the kills that we see, they're all off-screen kills, and we just see a body after.
Yeah,
Right?
but typically, for the most part, I mean, you saw you saw the girl jump out of the window and land and die, and then you see like it's still presented as if he's somehow back from the dead and doing this. So I get it that with the plot intricacies, you could argue it your way, and I'd be fine with it. But I feel like it's still presented as such.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. I know there's other examples I could give you that are a lot like that would never be considered slashers. I'm trying to think of like a supernatural. Okay, if Shocker was a good movie, would you consider that a slasher?
Yeah, I put it on my list. I actually did put it on my
Oh,
list. A weird,
okay, I don't.
weirdly paced,
Okay.
weird. Yeah, I put it on. It's not going to make my list. I mean, it's what I've said. I've put it on my watch list, but I told you I have like on my watch list. Prom Night is on there. Well, it's going to be disqualified. Sleepaway Camp is on there because I did watch these.
Yeah.
Just saying, because like I want to get in the Slumber Party Massacre. I've mentioned this already, so guys, I apologize for repetition. But we're watching slashers. I'm gonna watch some of these classics mixed in with, and the ones that are going to be disqualified because of the no franchise rule, mixed in with ones that are going to be called that. And I firmly put Shocker in there because he was trying to recreate a Nightmare on Elm Street, essentially. Um,
Okay, how
so
about this? Would the Toxic Avenger be a slasher to you? It's the same type of thing. It's a monster going out killing people.
No, because that it's not presented like that way at all. He's presented as a hero, not a slasher.
And he's the lead player.
And
He's
I
the
find
freaking
there is a teaser trailer out right now, um, and I'm not that excited. We talked about it last show for the images.
I'm not even gonna watch it, and I don't even care
I'm
at
telling
this
you,
point.
I will say that I'm glad they seem like they're recreating the taco scene, at least based on that. And they show one gore gag, I think, in the trailer, clearly, and that part looks good. But I hate the way that the one thing I'll give is the teaser's done in such a quick, rapid way that doesn't look like it's giving anything away. So that should be the only trailer. It's better than a lot of them that give the whole damn movie away. It's an actual good teaser, but I assume we're going to get a full length trailer at some point. And
Yeah.
the one
None
effect,
of my
it's
concern.
kind of what I'm worried about. I feel like they're just nowadays we've already got, like, we had Daredevil ripping people apart, and not Daredevil, Deadpool. Deadpool ripping, I always confuse those ones. Deadpool ripping people apart, and we had that in Logan or whatever that other one was. I'm telling you, like, R-rated gore at a superhero level. And there's other ones, like Kick-Ass was there. So it just seems this may be a little too late, but because it's in the Toxic Avenger realm, it doesn't look like it's taking itself too seriously. The downfall is it also looks like they're hamming it up for the camera. So that is what I'm a little concerned about. But again, that's based on a teaser. It just lowered my expectations a little bit more so. So it might be a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, mine are lower just based on pictures I saw, so that's enough for me.
So
Okay,
I rewatched.
one more thing.
Oh, sorry.
One more thing for my argument about
Oh,
Bad Dreams.
Sure,
All
that's
right,
fine.
and then okay, Exorcist 3. It's Satan. However, Satan is possessing these people to do these kills. We have the young boy beheaded, and then we have the other one later, the infamous jump scare. We have murders being placed with people being killed that are being by possessed. Of course, we know in this case it's by the devil. So the difference between Exorcist 3 and Bad Dreams, and instead of it being Satan, it's whatever, a cult leader that died and somehow is supernatural for reasons we don't understand. So, given that information, okay, would you consider Exorcist 3 a slasher?
No, but again, it's presentation. Presentation, no differently than Night School. Night School was, I had it on my slasher list. It would have been high on my slasher list, or would have been part of it. Then it really is a giallo. That is a perfect American giallo. And
True.
Like it just there's more police, like, procedural in there to that you're focused on more so than the actual victims and killer. Like that's a good idea. I mean, hell, if you really wanted to get into it, and this is a classic, you could possibly use the same argument for Happy Birthday to Me, but what that is presented as a slasher because there's police involvement, but it's totally on the back burner.
Well, right.
And it's focused on the kills. So like that's it. You're going to get elements thereof. There's no going to be like that. That's how they sort of differentiated themselves. So at some point you've got to, like, I had 10 to Midnight on there, but I watched it for the list, but I'm very, very easily can pull that off saying, no, it's like, there's horror elements because they're chasing a serial killer, but just the presentation of it is not true slasher. So
I won't watch it.
Yeah, it's I don't I will take that off the list. I watched Laid to Rest, slasher. And I actually didn't mind it. I watched Chrome Skull again. Fucking hated it. I remember thinking it was a decent follow up. I don't know what I was thinking. It's got a couple of okay kills, but it's just a shadow of its former self. I don't know what happened there. But the first Chrome Skull, even if it looks a little cheaper, the kills are fantastic in it. Just fantastic. Laid to Rest. Yeah.
Well, what I liked about Chrome Skull is that it filled in the plot holes and the problems that I had with Laid to Rest. In Laid to Rest, there was a couple problems I had.
Yeah.
And I said, this doesn't logically make sense, so I can only score this movie so high. And, I was like, it would never make my list. It would be a 6.5 max. But then something happened in Chrome Skull that explained why the things that happened in the first one did make sense. And I was like, oh, okay, so you helped out that movie? Even if it may not have been better. I think I have them both ranked like 6.5 anyway, so it wasn't anything to make that big of a deal. But it did, if nothing else, it helped fix part one for me. So I don't know. I don't know, but
Like All the Boys Love Mandy Lane. It's kind of presented as a slasher. It's presented
right.
as and then
It's on my list.
it kind of deviates thereafter. Um,
So
they
it's not, you're saying?
no. I'm including it. I'm just saying these are the exceptions that we're going to have
okay.
to make because at some point in time, like they were trying to mimic the old slasher with giving it a little modern twist, and so then it changes everything, and that's a slasher film. I mean, the one thing about Mandy Lane, I'll say, is that the kills are not all that great. That's the one thing about that movie.
Only
They're
saw it
they're
once, but liked it.
yeah, but no, I did too. I did. I've watched it more than once though, but so I did like it, and I bought the High Tensions. I just bought that in. I bought that Blu-ray, but then I saw that Second Sight has that 4K coming out. The second I saw it announced, I bought it.
Right.
I had to
Oh,
do it.
did you?
It's like a limited edition, and I love the Second Sight packages because guess what? I hummed and hawed, and that Arrow Psycho
Hummed and hawed?
hummed and hawed, and that Arrow
Or hemmed and hawed?
hummed and hawed and hemmed and hawed, and I'm gonna reach through and ghost at you. Hemmed and hawed.
Hummed.
Hummed. Yeah.
I'll
Anyway,
take my
fuck go fuck
time.
yourself. But you're right. Yes, damn you. On that Psychos 4K set, and it's gone now. It's sold out. You can buy it on. You can maybe find it on eBay, but you're gonna be paying
Someone
about a
will put
20
it
buck premium.
out.
Premium. There's the Blu-ray version, but there's the 4K.
Dude, Shout owns it. Shout owns it. Every fucking Scream Factory Blu-ray that's horror is now being upgraded to 4K. Whether they're looking good, I don't know because I haven't bit the bullet yet. But if they own it, they will put it out. That's all they're doing now. Their fucking model now is nothing but upgrading everything that they've already given us and just making it 4K. There's been no creativity.
That's actually a great. That's perfect thing because I only want 2 and 3. I've got one, but I just thought this came in a package. But I
don't have any.
Once you had it, well, I have one in that pack. Like you can get it as a standalone, but I told you Carrie got it the Hitchcock pack for me.
Word.
For 2 Christmases ago or whatnot, whenever it came out. It might have just been last. I time's blurred. But I have it and I like it. So I was only getting this because it was in a set. But to be honest, I like 4, but I don't need it on 4K. That's for sure. I don't even really need it on Blu-ray. To be honest, it's a movie that I'd go revisit the least amount out of any of the other ones.
Well, yeah, of course.
So
but I wouldn't mind them on 4 if they look good. If I gotta know, I can't blind buy 4K. It's very Natural Born Killers. My favorite movie just came out on 4K. I cannot blind buy it until I talk to people and I've seen some reviews. I'm not going to do it. I can't. I can't in good faith. I spent too much money over the years with some of these 4Ks. That I've come to the conclusion I have got to see reviews. I have to know what the deal is here.
We were talking about that. I agree with you. Like I was worried about that Hellraiser, but the preview for it only shows clips from Hellraiser, and it looks great. It does look great. It looks like they fixed a lot of the things that I was mentioning seemed grainy. They did say it was an all new 4K transfer, but.
Well,
so I'm just worried that one will sell out, and that one I definitely.
Which one?
The Hellraiser set. The Hellraiser set.
I'm gonna have to buy. Fuck! I don't have the money. See, I ordered The Exorcist because it's The Exorcist, and it's a big, beautiful same set you got. Come with the book and all that bullshit. Very few movies I'll do that route, but it's the I know. If it's from another country and it's a different day.
It's not the release. I think when you said you saw people getting their exorcists,
they got the regular.
They just got the regular one from Warner Brothers. This one was the special. There was
correct
the regular, and then there was the collectors, and then there was like the deluxe collectors that came out that was sold out like right away, and it was a ridiculous price. So we got the one with the lobby cards, I think, and it's just like
and some other shit.
Yeah, there's just some other.
Either way,
it's coming. It's coming.
And I have to get that. That's fine. That's something else. But I'll get a special edition of The Shining or a Halloween or a fucking, something that major that I have to have. Now I'm curious about what am I going to do with this Hellraiser thing. Natural Born Killers is out. The other one you were talking about. And now Pearl. Pearl is coming out on 4K, like the end of December.
Yeah.
But again, I don't know how it's going to look, but I really want it. So it's like, fuck, what am I gonna do?
This is where I find the difference. It's what they package with it. Because Pearl looks great anyway. So is it going to be drastically different from the Blu-ray to that? Yes, I know there's more resolution in
Maybe.
4K, but the Blu-ray looks so damn good
I know.
that you're just going to have to say, like, is it worth it? I mean, unless they're doing the lobby card thing, or whether you care about that or not, but some sort of collector's pack.
Nah, I don't even.
It's just the 4K transfer of it going to be enough for you to have to buy it again?
Maybe. I hope it is. I hope if it's good 4K, then yes, I want it in the best possible. 100%. I already have 2 copies of freaking Pearl on Blu-ray because it came out on. There's 2 different. What do you call it? There's 2 different covers, so I got them both. You know what I mean? I don't know if they're both still available. Honestly, the one might not be. It was a Walmart or a Target exclusive. It was something with a different cover, which is cool. So I had to have it. So I got those 2, but. But I want Pearl, but I want Natural Born Killers. How do I not have Natural Born Killers? The movie's beautiful. It should be on 4K. And there's things about it that I like. They changed some things from the uncut version when they initially put it out uncut on VHS and DVD and Blu-ray, that they changed some of the music back to what it was, which I'm happy about. They put the Nine Inch Nails ending instead of the drum ending at the end of the movie, which I never understood why they changed that for the unrated version. Especially after
for Natural Born Killers,
Trent did for that fucking soundtrack. Yeah,
I didn't even realize they did that too, because I got that. That was one of the big box Laserdisc sets I got, and it was a director's cut. But the director's cut literally just sprinkled in a few more extra shots of stuff that was
little things are in there.
Yeah, like when the fingers land on the guy's foot, like you see it, you see the fingers on his boot, like a little bit longer before he kicks them off.
Yeah, there's you see some extra gore. There's the hand. You get to see the hole in the hand. There's an extra scene in the beginning when Mallory's talking. So I like that. Anything with the dialogue that's a little extra, I like. So I do like it. But they changed that thing at the very end of the movie. It's the last shot you see before the credits roll. And they show all that crazy shit. And they show the fire burning. And they show him. And it used to be just the fucking thing of Trent screaming, saying, "I'm going to burn this whole world down." It's great. But they changed it on the first issue of the director's cut. And they put in these freaking like drums instead. I was like, why would you do that? Yeah, man.
That is so weird for a mainstream movie to have done that. Like, change.
To do what?
To change it.
Oh, well, it's a director's cut. They can do what they want. You know what I mean? It's all the time. Look at the Alien director's cuts and the difference and shit.
Yeah, but
they do what they do.
Yeah, I'm just saying for a musical change, it seems odd to me.
Yes, it does seem odd. Why would he do that? I don't get it, especially with Trent. He's all over that soundtrack, and he orchestrated the entire soundtrack. So there was a lot of work done for that movie from Trent Reznor. So I'm like, what the fuck? But anyway, I heard that's coming back, so I'm happy about that. That's cool. But I just want to know that it's going to look really well. I don't know. I don't know why. Is it weird for me to be apprehensive about foreign-made 4Ks? Like just because the Natural Born Killers, that's not foreign, I don't think. The Pearl one is. It's a region 2, but it doesn't matter because it's 4K.
Yeah, I think that's. I'm only buying them from like Arrow or Second Sight. I bought that Blu-ray from Umbrella for Martyrs, but I haven't even been able to watch it yet.
Who's selling Pearl? I just know that it's a foreign.
Is it Umbrella
release?
I wonder if it's Umbrella.
Know. All I know is that it's a Region B release. So you tell me. I don't know. Let's see. I got it right here in front of me. It's the last screen I had open here. Blu-ray.com. Turbine Medium. Turbine Exclusive Steelbook Limited Edition. 4K Extra and Blu-ray. Turbine Median is the name of the company. See, it's this company here. And this is what it looks like. See? Pearl.
Yeah. No, I've seen it.
So it's that
Turbine Media. Yeah. I don't know. I just don't know what they've done. The name, I've seen that name before, but I'm not too sure.
Right.
I have to look them up.
Yeah. Either way, that's what I'm saying. I got to find out. But whatever. But I do want it. I definitely want it. I want any 4K I can get with Mia, period. There's certain things I'll just do. You know, same thing with directors and stuff like that. There's certain ones that I want, and especially that movie which looks beautiful. So, but
Well,
we'll see. So,
they're also doing Vanilla Ice, Cool as Ice.
are they really? That's ridiculous. Who wants that on 4K?
Yo, drop
Uh,
the zero and get with the hero.
yeah, baby.
Hey,
Yes.
let's Go.
Yeah, let's Geo. Absolutely, let's Geo. Ugh. What was I gonna
Uh,
tell you?
I don't know.
I don't even know. There was something else I said. Oh, well, I guess I could talk about the girls since I was talking about Mia. I'll do my 10
Ooh.
girls for the week. Yeah, what the fuck? All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. For the people that care. This is 20,
For the people that care.
20 to 11. Okay. Number 20. Number 20, Avril Lavigne. You got to be familiar with Avril. She's Canadian.
Yeah, Canadiana.
How the hell does she still look as good as she does now as she did fucking 20 something years ago? Is beyond me. But my God, she's been a doll since she first came out, and she still is. It's ridiculous. She's amazing. I've always thought she was so cute. So she's something else. Fairuza Balk, of course. I had a crush on her when I was a kid and when she was a kid, and I just grown up with her, and the Nancy thing put her over the edge.
The what thing?
This one should Nancy, fucking,
In the
you
craft?
know, yes, correct. This girl should be higher, but whatever. She's in the top 20. Jennifer Love Hewitt. What need I
Yes.
say more? Beautiful, just everything.
Did you ever get a ring?
A ring?
I don't know.
Uh,
Supposedly that was her
uh,
thing. She would give guys a ring and
really?
show her that she cared, and all these
I,
guys
I
had
wish
rings.
I knew. I never met her. I wish I did. Wow, shit.
You never got a
Maybe
ring.
nice. Never.
Uh-oh. I didn't
Um,
load the whole time.
I don't know.
Check,
Kim
check.
Basinger.
Oh, yes.
Oh my
Man.
God, so hot. Oh,
You ever see the
those
one when
lips.
she starred with her husband and I think they just actually had sex? Was that not the getaway?
9.5 weeks?
No. That was the first one with Mickey Rourke.
Yeah.
That was great too. But no, it was something she did with Baldwin at the time.
LA Confidential? I
Nope.
can't think of a.
No, it wasn't. It was they were married and they had sex and it was too hot for. I think they had to cut it down and they released it uncut after. I believe.
Oh my
I
God, really?
believe.
I didn't
Yeah,
know about that. I
it's
just know
it,
nine and a half weeks.
not that. It's escaping me right now. I obviously could look it up, but I'm
Oh,
not motivated enough to do it.
Kim Basinger. Oh my God, those lips, that hair. Oh, so ridiculous. Even her freaking cartoon was hot as hell for Cool World. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, man, she's just okay. Jenny Garth. You know Jenny Garth? She is Kelly from Beverly Hills 90210. The
Kelly.
blonde girl. Oh,
Oh
just
yes.
I've loved
Yes.
her since day one, and I always will. Okay, now we got to cheat here. We got 3 Vanessas. How about that one?
Oh, you
The
son
3
of a.
Vanessas. I think it's the leader. I have, yeah, more women named Vanessa on my list than anything. Isn't that something? So
It was the
Vanessa
getaway.
Mars.
The movie was
Was
the
it?
getaway with Kim Basinger. Yeah.
Oh, I'll have to watch
So
it. Okay, should. Vanessa Marcille. I don't know if you know who she is. I discovered her initially on 90210 as well. She was in the later seasons and just absolutely stunning. Just sexy as hell. Ridiculous. And then she was on a show called, I guess she was on General Hospital first for years. Then she did 90210. Then she went back. Then she was on a show called Hotel. And on that show, Hotel, she was with somebody else who's on my list. I want to say Nikki Cox was also on that same, not Hotel, Vegas, I think it was called, or Las Vegas, something. But yeah, Vanessa Marcille. Just look her up. Mircil. Amazing. Another Vanessa Angel, who wasn't around much, but always stuck with me. The first time I saw her was in Kingpin. She was the girl in Kingpin. Oh my Lord. How she wasn't more famous I have no idea because she was distractingly hot. Um, and then of course, one of the best performances, one of the best, sexiest uh in any movie ever, particularly this one movie, but she was in other stuff too. But Vanessa Ferlito, you know who she is?
No.
Okay. If you've seen Death Proof, you've seen her. She is the New York girl, the Italian girl that does the freaking dance, that does the lap dance.
Oh
That
yeah.
she's hypnotic to me. There's very pretty women in that movie, but whatever, I'm extremely attracted to her. Everything about her, and I just think she's, man, incredible. Okay, now here's some more people that a long time ago. These last four were ones that I had when I was a kid. That's why they remain so strong. So, of course, Linnea Quigley, no question. I was all, like a lot of us at that time. Dude, I was just watching that special the other day, In Search of Darkness 2, and she was on there talking, and they were talking about Silent Night, Deadly Night. And I got to tell you, when she was in Silent Night, Deadly Night, the pool table and all that stuff, and she was, barely had anything on. I don't know. It's almost like she had the perfect female body. Just incredible how beautiful she was. Alyssa Milano, of course. One of the first. I was the same age as her. My first girlfriend actually looked like her, which was kind of cool. But another
Who's the
Italian
boss?
girl.
Will be back in a moment. Stick around.
Yeah. Awesome. Mona. Angela.
Yeah, that was even better.
Samantha Fox. Remember Samantha Fox?
Oh yeah, she was, again, poster girl. Didn't she have? Wasn't she?
Yep.
Was she in the? No, she just was standing.
I had a couple. I had like 2 or 3 posters.
What happened to her? Wasn't she like a pop star or something?
Yeah. I want to have some fun, and naughty girls need love too. Yeah. Yep. It was a good gimmick. Dance music. She was just ridiculously attractive and sold posters. Great gimmick, man. Yeah. Samantha Fox. And of course, it wouldn't be a list without having the original, the one and only Madonna. There you go. Who was just a major crush of mine from her first album to probably like her 5th or 6th. So that's a lot of, teenage years. And amazing. So there you go. We only have 10 left. So
Samantha Fox is 57 years old.
Yeah. So has 6 years on me now.
And gay. Who knew?
Yes.
I didn't know
married
that.
Married to a female, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, married.
And she's gay.
But
no, I had no clue. Yeah, but
she's gay.
Sorry.
Something just happened. Damn it. There was another one. There was a new one that just came out, a comedy one on YouTube of a newscaster that did something ridiculous. Ah, damn it. I'll have to try to remember for next show. Damn it. But he's gay. I love that.
God. It's hilarious because you can't, even the guy because he's blind, when they cut back to him, they're just losing their minds. And it doesn't say something like his wife goes on.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a surprise to my wife.
Oh man.
So is that, did you cover everything that you watched as well for the last little bit?
You know what? I don't think I watch much. I think I watched a lot of, because I've been watching so much. I've been watching I've been watching The Changeling, those shows. So I've been spending a lot of time doing that with my wife. A couple of the slashers that I said. What else did I watch? Was there anything there? Let's see. Saw 10, Dead Tone, The Golden State Killer, It's Not Over. That was a good one. Bad Dreams. Shredder. Yeah.
Did Shredder hold
Alan,
up? I gotta watch Shredder again because
yes, it did.
you were always been higher on that one, and I kind of just dismissed it.
Oh, it's good. No, it held up. Yep. Allen versus Pharaoh. That was the second time I watched that one. That documentary. Holy shit, that fucking crazy.
Dead Tone had a $3 million budget. How did I never even know about this movie?
Isn't that something?
Dead Tone.
Yeah.
I'll have to pop it on the list.
It also goes by the name of 75 with a 7, like the number 7. Hold on, I want to make
Oh.
sure, because if you go
I feel
looking
like I
for it, you
remember
might not
that.
find it. Yeah. See, it's hard to find. They play it on, what do you call it? They play it on
What a generic cover, though. That's maybe the reason
Plex.
why too.
Well, that's a terrible cover. Look at this one
Oh.
you're talking about.
Yes, absolutely
Yeah.
horrible.
Well, that's when they call the 75. But when you look at it on Letterbox and it's Dead Tone, it has a much
Oh, yeah.
better
Yeah,
regular the
yeah.
phone hanging on the wall.
I saw that next.
That's a
Yeah,
horror
that's
movie.
great.
Yeah. So
It was just
Anyway.
a harmless phone call.
yeah. It's just a harmless phone call. Oh, that's funny. So anyway, yeah, that's all I've watched. That is all. It's been TV shows and stuff like that. Saw a couple times and not a whole hell of a lot, really. You know, I have
Well,
other stuff here, but I mean, you know,
like I said, I was away, and then I ended up watching the documentary of the Lakers, which was 10 episodes long,
Oh.
almost all of them about an hour long. So it was a long time. So when I traveled this week, that's what I watched, and really good. And what you realize is that the first episode, so the first hour, is the first 2 seasons of the show.
oh
So
really?
the first hour of the documentary, maybe the first episode of the documentary, I should say, I think is the first 2 seasons, or the only 2 seasons of Winning Time, because they're not going to
So
continue, unfortunately.
They
Like I
really
said
stretch it
earlier.
out, huh? Oh man.
Yeah, well,
so
'cause
the
they're going
shows
through-
are ending.
The show ended, as I mentioned, but the documentary, yeah, it goes through everything. So there was the time frame of what I was familiar with from Magic and Larry Bird time frame, to like when I wasn't really familiar with much happening at all, and as it transitioned into the Kobe Bryant years and whatnot as well. There was another time frame, and then ending with LeBron, but LeBron's like in the last episode.
So
It's
wait,
more-
that's I'm getting confused. Are you talking about the documentary when you're
The
talking about
documentary.
all this?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so that's fine. So when does the show Winning Time end? Are you
Like in
trying to say that Winning
84.
Time? Okay, but hold on.
Yeah.
Is it ending on 84 on purpose, or did they cancel it in the middle of good stuff?
They were told
were
when
you
they were
expecting
starting.
more?
Well, I was hoping for more. I didn't read up about it till we were watching the last episode. They said that they got. So when I read up about it, they said that they got notice that they weren't going to renew past season 2. So they already knew season 2 was going to be their final one. But that they were hoping that maybe it would inject more life into the show. So the initial ending that came out for critics in the summer, promoting season 2, ended with one image, and that was going to be the end of the series. But then when the show aired, they had a capper that they put on just in case. That took place 5 months later. That just had the 2 leads just chatting quickly, and then it gives like all the highlights of what happened with the Lakers, what happened at the end of that season or the next season, and what happened in the future, and just sort of a nice capper, knowing that the show wasn't going to come back.
Oh, so
Like,
season
you-
1 you
Yeah.
watched and finished. Season 2 you also watched and finished, or no?
Yes.
Okay, so at the conclusion of season 2,
I
was there or
apologize to the
was
listeners who already heard all this.
well, your answer was so long, I couldn't keep up
No,
with it
I had
because
said
I'm
I
tired.
watched. No, I apologize. I'm being rude too, but I said it earlier in the show that I watched season 2 and we finished it.
But I didn't realize when you said winning season what the fuck it was. I just kind of
Okay.
didn't. Now that I know that it's that
Winning
Lakers
time.
show,
Yeah.
Yeah, that now I'm more curious about it because I just thought you were talking about some show. Yeah, oh, we watched Winning Season and we finished it or something. I didn't know what the hell it was. So now that I know
Yeah.
it's that again, winning
Yeah, it was
whatever it's
just the
called,
second season and like it's winning, yeah, winning time, which is
time.
still a weird
Okay,
name. It's still a weird
yeah,
name, but
winning season be better.
but it or they should have called it Showtime, but maybe because there's a
Yeah,
Showtime because that's what it was called, like that's what they called it. But I guess
yes, they
because
did.
of the fact there's a network and this whatever, and maybe it's a book. I think maybe there's a rights situation, so they just went with this. But still recommended, but it doesn't. The first season, there's still again, if you know the history, it's probably not going to be that shocking to you. I just knew some of it, not all of it. So
Right.
it was like where the twists and turns happen, even if, like I said, even if they're playing with the timelines a little bit, like they do in all these dramatizations, I'm okay with it because I know I'm watching a show and not real life. I
Right, I
expected the
get
doc,
that.
I expected the documentary, funny enough, to go more in depth. It doesn't. Like I thought the documentary was going to be focusing more on everything that we've been watching in the show, and it was the total opposite. It was like this happened, this happened, this happened. Now we're, like I said, the first episode of the documentary is 1 hour long, and that's the first two seasons of the show of the dramatization.
So when you
So
finish season two,
yeah,
do you feel like you're left hanging or not? Are
no,
do you feel like the show ended too soon and you're like, ah, that sucks. We invested the 2 seasons and they're just gonna drop it. Is that the feel you get or not?
no. But I mean, I love the show so much I wanted it to continue. So that's what I
Okay,
read up and
that's
said, are
fine.
we getting another? So, but see, here's my dilemma. Here's how I did it. And again, this is not entertaining for anybody but you. So I apologize to listeners right here. As we were coming to the end of the last episode, I'm like, this is the last show. I hope a hell it got renewed. So I started looking it up as we were watching the show. And as the show was, so we were like, I don't know, 10 minutes left in the show. I'm like, oh shit, it didn't get renewed. So
Oh,
then when it ended, we're like, okay, I get it. That's how they summed it up to give it a happy ending. But I would have much rather it ended on the original down note, knowing that that down note was reality and a real life thing, and that another season was going to take him to where the story was going to go. But instead of that, they had the down note and they put this cap scene on that doesn't feel out of place. It's just a cap scene on it, and then they give you that um, Fast Times at Richmond High ending where it's like so and so did this, so and so did that, so and so went on to do this, boom, boom,
okay.
boom, and then and whatever. So since it's all true facts, you don't feel cheated. It's cool because it gives you a quick history of what that meant and where it went. But yeah, of course I would have liked it in more shows, but I didn't feel cheated.
Okay.
I wasn't like, oh, we're left hanging now. There's no end.
Okay.
It just
Just making sure. I don't want to waste
yeah.
my time going into something and then where they cut it off early. Like anytime, if you hear about a show that has so many seasons and it got canceled before it actually got to finish, well, I'm not going to watch that show. So if this is the situation like that, I wasn't going to watch it. That's all I was trying to figure out is it worth my time, or is it going to
Well,
be like a situation where, oh, it ends now? There's so, you know what I mean?
well,
But
you know, you'll be conflicted because yeah, there's so much more. They would have liked to have it end. And I think they would have continued and then continued with the trades and everything. If it was a hit, I'm sure it could have gone on for 10 seasons. But because it didn't,
oh,
it ends where it does, but they give you that the capper to tell the rest of the story. But yeah, there could have easily have been more. Like you there
right.
so you're satisfied with like I guess the ending you got, knowing that it wasn't rushed. It wasn't like it was canceled mid-season or
Of
anything.
course
So
not. No, I
they
get
they
that.
had a
Right.
definitive end, but I'm sure that wasn't the end that they wanted. They would have
But what I'm
liked.
saying is they don't leave you hanging. Like at the end of Cobra Kai each season, you have a cliffhanger. You have okay, oh, we got to see what's gonna happen next season. Like most shows, like fucking, you know what I'm saying? The last episode, it's an episodic show. So like,
I
okay, I can't wait to see what comes back when we come back.
Yeah,
If all
they
of a
do
sudden they
that.
stop
I mean,
fucking
I'm
Stranger Things or Cobra Kai or anything in season 3 as opposed to whatever they're gonna go to, I'd be like, oh fuck, the show got canceled and now we You know what I'm saying? I don't want that
Yeah.
taste in my mouth. Is what I'm getting
No,
at.
you'll then don't watch it because I don't know.
Okay.
I could just be rewording things over and over again. But yes, it
Yeah.
ends on a down note. That's most likely they wanted to end the season that way because it's a great way to
Right.
end it, and there was going to probably be a follow-up season. But
Right.
who am I to say? They said they knew as they were filming the first few episodes that that was gonna be their last season, but
Mm,
they were capped at 7 episodes, so they told the story they wanted to go. I think they ended it where they wanted to end it, but they would have liked to have taken it another season. So you get the cap on scene that says next season's going to be our season, and then they throw all those statistics at you that
man.
tells you it is, and and everything that we just watched what it meant to basketball. So again, I've just reworded the same thing 3 times.
Yeah, it's
It
okay.
ends, but you you still get a capped finish, but it's bittersweet because I would have liked to have seen it play out.
Right. No, I get you. Okay. Well, then I probably won't bother. Who knows? I'm not gonna rush to it. Maybe I will get to it, but that's unfortunate. I don't want something to just end. You know what I mean? When I don't feel it's, and that's why I don't watch so many shows. Every time all these popular shows people talk about, oh, well, it's great for 5.5 seasons. So anytime I hear people talk about these shows, I'm never going to watch them now. I'm never going to watch Game of Thrones or Lost or fucking Dexter. All these shows people talk about, there's always that asterisk with that show. I don't want
Hmm.
a fucking asterisk. If your show's damn good enough, then that's all I need to know. Like the shows that
But
I love every season.
Dexter had a definitive ending. I just didn't like it, and I don't think a
No
lot of
one
people
did.
did. Yeah, but it had
Right.
an ending.
I know that. I'm just saying that people will say the show was good for 5 seasons if it's a 7 season show sometimes. I don't want to fucking watch shows that way. I want to watch a show where I'm invested from fucking the first show to the last show and I don't get
But you might
frustrated with the
be.
last season.
You might be like I didn't like the last season of The
Yeah, but
Sopranos.
it's
You loved it.
overwhelming. These are
Okay.
overwhelming fucking things I hear about Game of Thrones, about Lost, and about Dexter. I hear it again and the other not Sex and the City. True Blood's another one. Again and again and again and again. And these are fans of the show. If they all say it fell off, why am I gonna invest all that time? It doesn't make sense to me. Like the shows that I love, if I get burned, I get burned. Like if I'm watching like From Now or The Changeling and somehow it gets canceled or ends in a way I don't like it, then I'm along for the ride now because the ride is going now. But the ride for these other shows ended years ago in most cases, and there's already a consensus on it. So why would I willingly go into something knowing that odds are it's going to freaking drop off? Just like Shameless, which I stopped watching, or The Walking Dead, which I stopped watching. I just stopped. So who am I to say, well, yeah, check out Shameless. It's great for like 6 or 7 seasons. Like, okay. It leaves me feeling different about the show. Where if I talk about The Sopranos, or if I talk about Sons, or Breaking Bad, or any of the shows that I've loved, I don't say that. And I know there are some people who don't like Sons last
Yeah,
season. I did not have a
Carrie is one
problem
of
with
them.
it.
Carrie thought it fell off too. She was
That's fine.
rewatching it, and she said the last 2 seasons actually weren't
What?
all that great.
Holy
Or
fuck.
maybe I'm wrong.
Wow.
Maybe it was just the last one, but she definitely was like, yeah, this wasn't as good as I remember it being.
Maybe it was not as good as the ones but it was still pretty good and it had an excellent ending. So I don't have any beef with it. Just like even Sopranos, some people, and that was still great to me. So I mean, but those other shows, it's tough to do. It's tough to. I don't hear ringing endorsements about all these shows and what they became. It's like, well, why would I run to something like that? You invested all this time into it, so you almost feel like you're vindicated. Okay, I watched all these shows and I loved it, but then I didn't love the last 2 seasons or the last season and a half or this happened or that. I would hate to say that. I would
But
not
I at
want to.
least watched them in real time, so I get it. Like I wouldn't go back
Right,
and
you
watch.
can't help it then.
I
Right.
I thought about going back. I don't like going back to shows much. Carrie does it. I don't.
Oh, I do.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
like I said, going back and watching Winning season 1 2 times in a row. Like if you want something like that, then just don't even watch season 2. Just watch season 1 of Winning season. You've got a beginning, middle, and end of a great fucking show. So that's what I would say there. You don't even have to watch the second season, and you've got a perfect season right there, and
Yeah.
it gives you everything you need. So to say that there's a second season should only be a bonus for you, because like I'm telling you, if it was just if it was a one and done, we wouldn't be having this discussion right now. I mean, watch it.
Right,
It's
but-
fantastic. Episode 1 to 10 is great. It has everything you need. And then they did a season 2. And the season 2 has everything you need. I don't think it's as good as season 1, because there's not that drop, like jaw dropping, like what the fuck happened? What's going on here? Where is this going? What the hell? This happened?
Right.
This is crazy. Like season 2 at that point seems a little bit more like a continuation that I expected, story wise, or whatnot. The surprises weren't as there. I'm not saying it's not. It's as good from an acting standpoint. It looks the same. Everything's there. But then that will maybe make you feel like you're left hanging. But you don't have to watch it. There's no obligation to watch it. Season 1 is perfect, and it's done, and it's a beginning, middle, and end with no
But-
cliffhanger.
Oh, with no cliffhanger?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's different then. That's different. Interesting. Well, we'll see. I got enough shows on the freaking on the plate now anyway, man. And we're still watching Seinfeld. We still haven't finished. We're going through that slow. I'm watching All in the Family by myself, and I'm watching Family Guy by myself. And when I finish Family Guy, I got to catch up on American Dads, because I didn't know it came back after being canceled. And I don't know what I'm going to watch next after All in the Family. I might watch The Jeffersons. I might go to something completely different. I might finally let Francesca watch The Sopranos. Not but I think maybe now she'll understand it more. So, because she's seen other great shows. I don't know. We'll see. But that's what I watch with the family. It's usually shows. It isn't all the time movies, So,
Yeah. Like I said, I'm very infrequent. I didn't watch Breaking Bad, and now I feel like it's too little too late, even though people rave about it.
Now's the
I've
time
never
to
gone-
watch it.
Yeah, everybody says that. I just have no interest.
Well, I watched it way after the fact. That's the
Yeah.
same with Sons. I watched all these shows way after they came and went, because I don't want to. In syndication, I was tired of hearing about it, so I didn't bother with it. Plus, I didn't do commercials and shit like that. I wasn't watching it. But then, after it ended and it came on streaming platforms and I could binge the fucking thing, I watch it.
Yeah.
And that's what
Maybe
I do
I'll
with
dedicate
Sons.
that to travel another time. But see, like I was trying to do horror films. Like, I mean, I had some
Well, yeah,
some that
this
I
year,
wanted
too.
to watch. Like, for instance, I heard there was a sequel to Terror Train, the remake. I didn't hear good things about it, but it was
Right.
available on Crave to download, even though it's on Tubi. But it was available to download, so I could watch it offline. But then I ended up watching that documentary the whole time. But I had that. I had a few other ones just ready to go. Checking out. I just finished Charlie's Farm again.
Oh,
I-
Tara.
Yeah, I shifted to modern slashers for a bit, other than Madhouse. And I'll probably end up going back to the classic realm again.
Yeah, I got the list. I got 1 to 161, and I do the thing, and it comes. The next one I'm gonna watch is X. I just gotta, so I do it, and then I'm submitting movies to MB. I'm letting them know, hey, can we get this one added? And so it is, poor guy. I'm gonna be sending him requests for 2011 and all these slashers for the next freaking year, like all the time. So, but today's October 1st. We got to talk about that. It's here. However,
Spooky
let me
season?
run quick. Spooky season. Frankie came up to me this morning and gave me a hug, and she said hi, and she goes, spooky month is here, she said. Spooky month. That's okay. Spooky season is okay too. It just reminds me of, I gotta get that thing from, what do you call it, from Rob Zombie's Halloween and play it. And I can't find the scene, but that's what it reminds me of. Woo! When they're doing that message, D. Wallace and that guy. Happy Halloween. I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah.
let us just take a little quick 2 and 2. And then,
Okay.
like we actually have commercials. Imagine that we got commercials again.
Oh no.
No, it's work, isn't it? commercials.
No, it's just they were always louder than I needed them to be. I was just a pain.
That's
in
the
the ass.
problem, dude. I cannot, and I don't want to
Too quiet, too
badmouth
loud. Yeah.
anything, especially I don't want to say anything negative. But man, if you are listening, podcasters,
Plus, half
please,
those shows are gone now. I think.
please, yeah, but the problem hasn't gone away. Please, please, please make your show loud enough that when I'm driving, I have on full blast and I can barely hear you. And then you go to commercial or you go to a song in between your thing or a bumper or whatever it is, and all of a sudden it's this loud. Hey, hey. Just now, who far be it from me to say, because I can't produce a fart. All right, much less a freaking a show. So I am the last person in the world to complain. But if Christian did it one time on our show, and I thought that's what's our representation for our show, I would say, Christian, please don't do it again.
Oh, it happened.
That's what I would say.
It happened
I
in the
didn't-
past, and even these shows, which are recorded and are, in my opinion, much better quality than when we were using Skype.
Right.
The
Agreed.
the sound has been much better. I'm other than just lately having some lags, but I mean, other than that,
Right.
I'm just talking about like the overall production sounds much better, much cleaner. It's still sometimes if you're driving in a car, depending on your car and the interior noise in the car, the volume is still low. But it's something about podcasts and streaming volume because it's all showcasing properly in the editing software and everything else. It's the final output, and if you put it any louder, I feel like it's going to start clipping. So I don't know what's going on. But it's not just our show; it's every show, like regular,
Lots of shows.
professionally produced podcasts. I find the same thing happening.
But my biggest complaint, though, on top of that, is when your podcast is so low that I have to put my phone on full blast to be able to hear what everybody's saying on freaking. I can't stand those low podcasts. If my volume goes up to 30, I should be able to hear pretty much what everybody's saying by 20. Seriously. Instead, I got to jack it up to 30, and then when the bumper comes in, it's louder and everything, and then it's way too loud.
Oh yeah.
So get to the bottom of it, please, people. Or don't do it then. Then don't do a commercial or a bumper or a song. Just cut it like we do. See how simple we are, like right now. Hey, we'll be back in a minute, guys. Thank you. We're back just like that. So it's October 1st or Shocktober 1st, as Christian likes to be called. The
That's
time
when I
is
get the
here.
thumb in my asshole for the month of October. The Shocktober.
Right? Shocktober.
Yeah.
That is funny. It should be Shockoween, because there's nothing really shocking during October until Halloween night, if you think about it.
Shocktober, spooky season, the whole 9 yards. I don't like. Again, in the big picture, I don't really care. It's just why can't it just be October, and why can't it just be Halloween, and why can't we just enjoy things the way they are?
Well, I do. Same as always. To me, October has always been Halloween the entire month. So October 1st is today. That's when I start doing all my traditions. This is the way it is. I look forward to this day every year. October 1st, October 31st, opening day of football, my birthday. There's a couple things. You know what I mean? But it's like October 1st is the big day to me. So
When do you start pumpkin fucking? When does that kick into play
as
this
soon
month?
as I get a pumpkin, but I haven't got a pumpkin yet.
Carve a
gotta go
little
looking.
like glory hole in it, and you just start.
Yeah, it's a jack
Why
off
does,
lantern.
yeah, why does the word jack off lantern? Is that a thing?
Yeah. Well, it is on Banana Laser. It was a commercial
Yeah.
we had.
A jack off
Yeah.
lantern. Wow, that
I
is
wrote
ahead of
that.
its time. You wrote
I
that
wrote
one?
that years ago.
So
yeah,
that,
the
that
jack off
now that's an
lantern.
Exploding Heads original.
Yeah, hey, why not? It definitely is. Jack off lantern. We don't have any commercials though. We should have put the commercial in between the thing just now, and it was the Banana Laser commercial.
No.
Would have worked. Jack off lantern. So I wanted to ask you about that. Now I am excited. Everyone's doing 31, and everything else, and everyone has their plans ahead. I cannot at this stage plan ahead the 31 movies I'm going to watch and know for a fact I'm going to get to them. So I just every day I get up, I look, okay, this year I'll probably want to watch all the classics, and I'll probably like, okay, boom, let's do this. I don't have the time to even put together, because then it seems like a job to me now. Usually it used to be just fun and I didn't give a fuck and everything else. And
Yeah.
now the pressure seems on because of social media, because everybody's doing it now. And maybe they were always doing it before, but before social media, I was always doing it. So now it's like everybody has like a thing. We got to do this. This is going to be this. These are my movies I'm going to watch. They do it fucking a month before Halloween gets here, or October, I should say. And they start doing it. And I'm like, I can't do that. I cannot fucking do it. But anyway, I'm just excited about it. But I wanted to talk about something before we had to go. Did you hear about what's going on with the Halloween franchise?
Yes, I did. I was going to bring it up earlier because we were talking
Well,
about Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. And as usual, either I forgot or we just went on to something else. So, yeah, because the reason I say that specifically is they're fishing it around for possible people to take it over, which I thought was weird, and to take the story from there. But I read a specific article, possibly just headline. It was this week that they wanted to explore the idea of the Season of the Witch portion of it, like a Halloween 3. I don't know if they made an anthology where it wasn't Michael Myers based, but it was taking the Halloween name and doing something different with it, or if they were talking about a launching pad and using Season of the Witch as part of it, which I thought was odd. But did you read that as well?
I heard one or two people like the only news I heard off the bat were the rights to the Halloween franchise are up for sale, sparking a competitive bidding war over studios and platforms. And Miramax is supposedly shopping it around, and
well,
that's all I heard at first.
We're fans of Halloween 3, as we've mentioned, but nobody's buying that with the hopes of exploiting Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. They want it. Well, I'm not saying I hope they, like, I'm not saying that, but they're not doing it for that. They want Michael Myers. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Come on.
So
like,
I don't know how that, but why did the Halloween 3 rumors start? I mean, that was the obvious thing at the beginning. It's Michael Myers. It's Halloween. What is it going to be? Then I heard that A24 was supposedly in the lead of the bidding war. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. But then now they say this. Miramax is currently seeking buyers for the Halloween franchise with the option to adapt it into either a movie or a television series.
Yeah.
So that's weird, huh? But the Halloween 3 thing came out later, and I don't know what the deal is. And I haven't read anything about it, but about that part. But I have heard some loose talk about somebody saying Halloween 3 could possibly be involved. And it's like, it's so weird to see this movie go from like a 3 on the freaking IMDb to all of a sudden people are talking about wanting it to be a TV show. I mean, it's cool.
Yeah.
But wow. I don't know if there's any
I'm shocked too.
that.
Well, I'm wondering too if it was just a horror fan goofing, like, no different than say they want a launch pad like from Rob Zombie's H2, because that would have gotten people up in arms. So what's the next best thing is now to use Halloween 3, which used to get a lot of hate. Like if it was it a 3 at one point, because it's at 5.1 now on IMDb.
Right. Yeah, it came up finally. And it is, and it's going to continue. And I just think Halloween Ends, I think one day is going to come up. But we'll see. Which, again, Exorcist is coming out this week. I already got my tickets for the first show, Thursday at 5. And I know nothing of it. And I will be there. And I'm going to have, high hopes. We'll see what happens, but I expect the worst at the same time.
High hopes. Yeah. Well, hey. Again, but it's cool. There are a ton of flicks coming out. It's going to be a busy, spooky season.
Right. So now there's another one. Halloween franchise revival producers addressed by sequel trilogy producer. I'm not so sure. Jason Blum addressed the recent reports that the Halloween franchise will get another revival, expressing his doubts of how it could be done. So now Blum expresses the doubts about another revival of Halloween, stating that Halloween Ends was intended to be the end. Of course, he's going to say that, though. But reports of a TV show adaptation of Halloween led to speculation about a prequel exploring Laurie's past or a younger Michael. The issue of canon continuity arises.
Oh,
then,
fuck.
The only other viable option for continuing the franchise would be a full reboot, but this risks undoing the ground approach of the recent trilogy with the continuous. While a continuation would risk revisiting the supernatural elements critics and audiences previously despised.
Yeah.
Why does it have to be that?
Which they just did to the other one. So what right do they have to say like where it goes from here? Because that's exactly what they did. We're going to ignore everything else
Right.
and take it right after part one. Well, so then this guy could just say or this girl could just say we're going to ignore everything else and we're going to start fresh, or we're going to ignore everything else and take it place after part 6, or it's going to
Yep.
be Rob Zombie's H3. Like, truth be told, they can have Michael Myers back up and running and say it takes place after Rob Zombie's movies and not really worry, because that Michael Myers, other than being related to Laurie Strode, because it follows the sibling and the family sort of structure, is just as evil and menacing as the recent one trilogy that came out. So they could just have him up and running again with a new mask, spring fresh like Jason, and continue. Where does it go from there? Who knows? Because at the end of that
Well,
one, Loomis and Laurie are dead.
what they should do is just have what we've asked for years from these franchises, just a standalone movie where let's put Michael in the position that Dracula and Frankenstein's monster and the Wolfman have once been in. They can all be there where it's like, why not just have Michael in Haddonfield show up and it's just another thing. And without, you know what I'm saying? Why can't it just be Michael? Basically, look at it this way.
Ooh.
What, make it like us coming and killing kids and doing his thing, and this just so happens to take place in Haddonfield, and just so happens to be Michael Myers. Why not make it real simple? Just say this is something that happens.
That's exactly it. They haven't been
Who
able to
cares?
do it like that. To put webcams in or whatever. Just make it take place at Halloween. Get that Halloween atmosphere, which means 1,000 pumpkins on a porch, Brandon, and then have Michael Myers stalking through the streets and killing people on Halloween.
Why not?
Exactly. And the reasoning, like if you don't give a reason, who gives a crap nowadays? But if they could loosely link it, or they don't have to. That would be interesting. I don't think they'll do that. Everything has to be wedged.
I
But
would.
I come up with, as you were talking, they have the Spider-Verse or the Marvel verse or whatever. We're gonna have the spooky verse. The spooky verse for spooky season. Michael Myers is
go.
going to fend off against little Mikey Myers in the clown costume versus Michael Myers with every one of the masks throughout. Like Rob Zombie's Michael Myers is going to go against, Dick Warlock versus Nick Castle versus the new ones and Tyler Mane. It's just going to be a free for all. That's what, did they get the rights for all of them? That's what I would do. Michael versus Michael versus Michael versus Michael.
Dude, all they have to do is pick it up
Spookyverse.
after part 2 leaves off, like they did with part 4.
Yeah.
That's all
Well,
they
you're
got to
right.
do. Just freaking, he's in the hospital and he escapes and goes killing. We don't have to be concerned with Laurie or anything else. All just the fact that a freaking guy who kills people escaped and returns and kills more. Just leave it at that.
Oh,
Can't they just make it simple?
they won't. They could just make it simple, but they won't. So if you want to have a launching
They
pad
should.
to do it, here's another idea: bring back Josh Hartnett or his character, and he's after him now. He comes back to Haddonfield, maybe to explore
Fuck that
his
shit.
mom's roots. Well, hey, I'm telling you, this is what they do. They're going to figure out what avenue hasn't been explored. So somehow he's forgotten in Resurrection. Michael Myers goes home and webcams it up and gets Busta Rhymed, and then we're done that time frame. Then we're in the Rob Zombie duo, which then you could launch pad off that, and you
See,
could simply launch pad off that with just having Michael Myers return on Halloween and leave it like we're talking about. But I'm just saying they never make it simple for themselves anymore.
maybe now
So
they're smart enough to,
yeah,
because they realize that their
maybe.
mistake. They have a repeated mistake and always assigning a reason. And he's always got a family member, and it's always some of this shit, or it's a former victim. Just erase all that shit. It's just like Halloween 78. A guy escapes and he freaking goes and kills. Just make it like Halloween 78. It doesn't have to be so fucking difficult. They're making it difficult. That's the problem with this franchise. That's why people bicker about this franchise so much, because they keep having to have different timelines when it could, like, look at Evil Dead remake. That could have been, it's a remake, but it just as easily could have been another Evil Dead or Evil Dead Rise. It just took place fucking it's just an isolated incident. This is what happened. Why can't you do it with a killer? You can. Who says you can't? But they keep making it.
Could they go Roy? Could they go Roy? There's the Roy syndrome, or like they could syndrome. Creating words as I usually do.
Like
syndrome, where they can have a copycat killer that simply picks up a Michael Myers mask and goes to Haddonfield to kill on Halloween.
I guess, but I'd rather it just be Michael. Why not have Michael escape again?
Escape from what, though?
Like how he escaped in part 4. He's a murderer. He's burning at the end of part 2. You're not just going to let him go free. He's a fucking killer.
But he's burned to a cinder. Like, we see his eye sockets burnt out. I know.
You watched part 4, you didn't complain.
No, I
now
did
you're going to complain?
I did complain. I'm like, the guy like, barely has any burn on him. I've always made that joke. He barely has any burn on him. He's like, and then we see his eyes and he could drive and he's like slightly crispy and he has no tear ducts because he got no eyes, motherfucker. Why could he cry in part 5?
Well,
I've always made these
no
jokes.
Ass.
But we make eyes. He's got no ass.
Well,
yeah,
he's got no ass, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Imagine that. They burned his ass.
No,
off it melted.
Again,
just do it.
At this point, it could be the ghosts of Michael Myers. No one's going to like it, but it could just be that the town has been haunted. The town's been haunted. Yeah. Was it Alex that did that? Or
the ghost of Michael Myers. Yeah, watch that. See, that's like basically what Michael J did with Camp Out Nightmare, but shorter.
You want to do an auto commentary of it?
Let's do it.
Let's not tell Alex.
See how he likes it. He laughed too. You make fun of me too, so it's okay.
You got to when you're doing your old stuff. But again, they kind of alluded to it in part 6 where they canceled Halloween, and they get into all this stuff. They're like, "Well, cancel Halloween? Why would they do that?" Well, doesn't it make sense when there's been like all this horror and whatever that happened? Is Michael Myers dead? Wow. Is he not dead? And then he returns.
It's only one night.
A spirit.
But it's
exactly.
only there isn't all this Halloween. No. But in our world, it isn't all these Halloweens. Halloween 1 and 2 takes place over one night. So one bad thing happened once. Okay, well, except when he killed when he was a kid. But years later, he escaped as the same guy.
Part 6
just leave it
has him coming back. Part 6 takes what happened in 78.
Yeah, I'm talking about us.
Oh, okay.
You're missing my point. I'm saying a movie now. If we were to make a movie now, if they were to make a movie now, that wouldn't be it. Just pick it up. See, you can't say pick it up at the end of part 1 because they already did that with the last trilogy. They ignore part 2. So in this one, we keep part 1, we keep part 2, and it's just a random escape. At another time, there's no fucking niece. There's no nothing. He just goes to where he doesn't have to go back to Haddonfield. He's still in fucking Haddonfield. He's in HMH, Haddonfield Memorial. And he fucking wakes up, something happens, or somebody cracks him out, some fucking punk kids. You know what I mean? That know he's the killer. They read about him on the internet or some shit. Whatever the fuck. And he gets loose. How cool would that be? It's so simple.
Well, you can leave it up to the fans to decide. You could keep it even simple. Like, for instance, at the end of Resurrectum, his eyes pop open and he's a crispy mess. At the end of part 2, his eyes are burnt away and he's a crispy mess. At the end of part 6, he's gone and left in limbo. You could well, but 6 takes place after 5. At least that follows the same timeline. I'm trying to end it at every timeline. So you've got the 1 and 2 timeline. He's alive. Or he's burnt, but you can make him come back if you want, because they did in part 4. In part 4, they made him come back. So then you get 6. In 6, he's alive at the end of that. In H2O, well, they lead into Resurrection. And Resurrection, his eyes pop open. He's alive. At the end of Rob Zombies, all 3 of them are dead, but they were thinking of continuing it from there. So he could be alive because evil never dies, as we well know. And then they've got this new trilogy, which you just then ignore no differently than they ignored everything else. They try to bring a different take, and then they mashed him up to say he can never be back. Okay, well, in the Blum world, dead, but you can't get mad at anybody wanting to bring him back because they're in search of the almighty dollar and they want to bring him back too. I'm not for or against it. I don't care. It's been done numerous times. We've been lied to from the time we saw the final chapter, and we know that it's just going to continue to go. So I never thought it was going to necessarily be the end. And you even, I think, mentioned it on the show because at some point in time, they're going to want to make more money. That series made money, and it's going to continue to do so. TV series, okay, I could go for that
it's
too.
hot. It's hot now. Chucky
Exactly.
and now Friday the 13th coming next, and that's A24 doing it. So if A24 wins the bidding rights, they might do a Halloween and a Friday the 13th show. How about that? And then maybe they'll have them get together sometime, or maybe not. But you can't pick it up after Resurrection.
For a little tea time.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm not saying you have to. You don't have to reference it. You just have him in, like you said, he's back at the hospital, burnt to a crisp. That could be after part 2. That could be after, well, not after part 6 necessarily, but he's still in Haddonfield at that point. And you could have, or after part 8 or whatever the hell it is at that point. Yeah. You don't have to reference it necessarily, but you're right. Like however he gets up, he's spring fresh and he goes on a killing spree again. Or you could just pull the Jason Goes to Hell factor and he's just alive.
Stop.
No, but just alive. Like, do you need an explanation of where he's been? They didn't do it there.
I guess not.
And you're not
fucking
like
New Line. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that's exactly what you're saying in a sense. Like if they're not going to explain it, they're going to just dump him in for a fresh take. Then what's to say that can't be done? I'm not saying body hopping.
Yeah, but still, the way part 8 ended, he went back to being a little boy. How the fuck if you don't pick it up from there, you're really not picking it up. You're saying it's way in the future, and Jason's here. I'm not going to tell you why. You know, he should have been a little boy, gone back to the fucking Crystal Lake and drowned again because he's a little boy, and then he just starts the whole thing over again in Earth 2.
Cruise control.
Earth 2 could have really been a thing. I'm pissed off still about that because the way Jason X ended, I took that as hope that it's going to go back to the camps. You know what I mean? They're at the camp. They teased the camp thing earlier, even with him, and I'm like, okay, now we can. Now they did everything they've done wrong these last 2 movies, and now we're gonna have it pick up on Earth at a campsite, and they never fucking did it. Fucking Freddy vs. Jason came out, and then fucking. Damn it, Jacket Jason, which somebody brought up the other day that Jacket Jason actually started in Jason X. When he's frozen in carbonite, he had a jacket.
Frozen in carbonite. I love that.
Whatever the fuck it is. Frozen in ice.
Yeah. My trophy, Jason Voorhees. Yeah, in carbonite.
But fuck that no jacket. Everybody get him off. Everybody get him off. Hashtag not my Jason. Fuck Jacket Jason. Get him off. That is not the representation of Jason Voorhees. That started in fucking 10, but nobody cared. But it became the big look of Jason because of Freddy vs. Jason for some reason, because it grossed the most. So when you Google it, it comes up. So everybody's always making memes, and every fucking thing you see online is always Jacket Jason. When that's like fucking, that would be like having fucking Freddy from fucking the remake as Freddy. You know?
Well, again, I have no problem with Jacket Jason. I like the original look too.
How could you not?
Because I don't have.
Aren't you tired of seeing that fucking jacket and gloves on Jason?
No, I don't have a problem with it. I don't.
I have a problem with it because it's overwhelmingly the representation of Jason now. If it was a mix, I wouldn't care. But that has taken over. If you ask someone what Jason looks like now, they're going to talk about a fucking jacket and maybe gloves. And that's a shame. It's the shitty movies.
It's the most recent, we're talking about the last 20 years. So
it's a shame.
Of course.
Bring them back the right way. I'll tell you what, if that Brian Fuller, if they fucking come out with that TV show Crystal Lake and they have him as Jacket Jason, I'm fucking not going to watch it. Because he's supposed to be a true Blue Friday fan like us. He should fucking know, hey, let's erase the wrongs of Jacket Jason and fucking make
It
him the
should have
way
all versions of Jason then. Jacket
definitive
Jason,
Jason. Yeah,
Sackhead
3 and
Jason,
4.
Kid
Fine.
Jason.
I'll even not have to deal with fucking
The
Sackhead
Fridayverse.
as much as I love him. I'll give up Sackhead in order to give up Jacket Jason. How about that? It's only fair. Just give me Jason like he looked in part 3 and part 4, because that's the legitimate Jason. No matter what the fuck anybody tells you, that is Jason, not a fucking guy wearing a jacket.
That was
and
Icon
gloves.
Jason. We get it.
Yes.
But then they revamp the icon. They give him a fresh look.
And fucking Uber Jason is the worst thing ever. Because I said that on the show more than once. Oh, I hated it. It was the worst part of that movie. Uber Jason.
Evil got an upgrade.
Oh, Evil got a fucking up ass. It's fucking terrible. Upgrade.
Oh,
Fuck you
man.
in the ass. How's that?
I do
Anyway.
love your passion around it too, though. It's always fun to joke around with because we are passionate about it. I get it. I mean,
yeah.
I get it. I mean, yes, it would be kind of cool to get a true blue retell of Halloween 3 or something that takes place from that. So I wasn't sure if they meant that they're going to remake it or as a launching pad, or if they're just doing the anthology idea, which is that you don't get Michael Myers, but you get the Halloween name, so that you have to take it from that anthology standpoint. And so that's what's interesting. And then, so that's fine. That makes sense too, because just like Goosebumps, which is coming back, by the way, new show.
Your next
Goosebumps
favorite
is coming
movie.
back. It's a show. It's the rebrand of the show.
Oh, that was a movie again.
And like, then they could have Halloween, and then they could just be an anthology. I guess it'll be like Friday the 13th, the series. It'll be Halloween, the series, and it'll be whether like, so it makes sense to be a new episode every like
why not?
whatever season. It could just be whether one season's a full story or each episode's its own entity. Who knows? That will
Why
be,
do you need Halloween then? Just call it fucking spooky season or just have an anthology show.
because it brings weight around with it. I'm assuming there's
I'm
more
just
to it than
teasing.
that, but you've got the weight of it. I get you, but I would only assume that you're allowed to have. They're going to get the rights to Michael Myers as well, and then of course, no, I don't think anybody's going to be thinking of doing a Season of the Witch spinoff. They're going to be wanting to milk whatever they can get out of a Michael Myers.
I'd love to see the next day after Season of the Witch. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
That'd be great. You know, see what
you
happens.
you didn't stop it.
Yeah, right. Well, supposedly they didn't
Yeah.
stop it during the credits. There's supposed to be kids screaming and shit.
Yeah.
So, despite what anybody says, so
What
there you
happens
go.
is a bunch of
So,
kids that are half the kids are dead because they stopped those first channels. Everybody's in mourning. The country's in mourning, or the world's in mourning, and then Michael Myers comes back to start killing again.
that too. That's okay. So, should we do a drawing before we go to pick our next gig, or what?
Yes, let's do it.
Let's do it. Between 1 and 30. I got to change it. It was at 161, but let's see. Number 27.
Oh,
So-
that's me again. Why do I always feel like it's me?
It has always been. You've been lucky.
No, we got to
You've
do it
been
again. We got to switch back
No.
to you now, man.
Are you sure you weren't first? I thought you were first.
Or you got slashers. Maybe I'm lying. You got slashers. I got Fulci. Yours is I was last. But you're right. I guess we have gone back. What did you get?
Oh,
What was the number?
27? I think. Hold on.
What did
Random.
you just say?
27. Yeah, 27. Oh, my memory's fucked. Are you kidding me? Yeah, I thought you were first and I was second. Because we got Argento from you. We got fucking Wes
You know-
Craven from you.
Yeah, we
We
did
got
Argento. We did Fulci.
Fulci. All your directors have come in. Yeah.
We
I
did
got
Argento.
slashers.
We did Fulci. Yeah, let's do another one of yours. I think it's
Are
time.
you
to do
sure
another-
though?
Yes, I am sure.
I thought I'm the second. You're the first.
No,
You're
we
the
did.
first 15.
We've done Craven, Dawn of the Dead, Old and New, Cronenberg, Fulci,
Okay.
and Argento of mine.
Okay, and what were their numbers?
16, 17, 22, 23, 24.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. So you want to throw me a bone?
Yeah,
Okay.
man. I feel like it's
All
just
right.
from a fairness standpoint. I don't have your
Throw me a
list in front of
bone.
me though. I
Let's
only
do
have
another
mine.
one.
Yeah.
23. See, we've already
No,
done
that's my,
23.
yeah.
6. There you go.
There
6.
you go. That's you.
All right. What's my 6? Do you know, or do I gotta look
No,
it
I
up?
don't know. You have to look it up.
Oh, I gotta find your fucking the
Yeah.
chat and everything else, and go back,
right.
and it's some work. Okay, so we gotta go up here, and what was one that won? I gotta go to a search
6.
here.
Oh,
Search in conversation. Give me a word.
type
Argento.
slashers or Argento. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll try. I'm sure Argento's come up too many times. Oh, so has slashers. Holy fuck. We talk about these things constantly. Slashers and Argento. You
Peter
know?
Jackson or Raimi.
Oh, hold on. Cat and floor flies. Okay. Argento, that was you. That's why, because I gave you mine first. You're right. Okay. So let's see. Stephen King, found footage, slashers. That was 3.
What's number 6?
4, 5, 6. Vampires. Oh, interesting.
Ooh.
Vampires, huh?
Perfect
So
for
we each
this
pick-
spooky season.
Yeah, we each pick
You
a
want to
vampire
pick?
movie.
Do you want to pick 4 and have the listeners
Or we can do
rank
that.
them?
Yeah.
Well, you pick
Yeah.
2, I pick 2, and
Okay.
then that
put
goes
it
that
up.
way, or whatever. And then we won't tell them who picked what. We'll just pick 4, put them out there, and then the 2 win. That's how we'll do it.
Right the
Yeah.
fuck on. Let's do it.
So it's even more crazy. And we've
Okay.
done Fright Night, correct? We have done Fright Night.
I don't know.
I forget too because I have done Fright Night. I was on a guest show and we did Fright Night. So then I can't remember if we've done it now. I've got to look back there.
Yeah,
I don't
look
think
and
we've done
see.
we've done like Vamp, we did a short version of it. I don't think we did a long version. Fright Night, I got to double check. Near
Yeah.
Dark, we didn't do. But I think we talked about it because we were on the 86 show. Or that was 87 though. So I don't know. Maybe it was just talked about in passing. I got to do some research before we put our lists together.
Right on. Okay.
All right.
So that's it.
Awesome.
We'll put it up. But
Cool.
thanks everybody. We love you. Manchichi. Peace. Anything else? See?
Take care, everybody.
Happy October.
You say,